You are listening to a Dynamicworksproductions podcast. This show is available on iTunes, Stitcher Radio Network, and many, many more podcast services around the world. You can find all our content, music, videos, books, podcasts, and more on our website, www.dynamicworksproductions.com. Have questions, comments, or concerns for us? Head on over to the social tab on www.dynamicworksproductions.com if you'd like to talk to us. Now, on with the show. What's going on, Fork family? Welcome to another episode of the Fork in Your Ear podcast. I'm your host, as always, author, podcaster, and gamer, Tim K. Trotter. Joining me on this slightly chilly October Eve is the one, the only, the fooiest of Nates. Nate Foo. I don't know. I came up with that on the spot, man.
I know. I live for these moments. It's almost the reason I just, keep coming back for more of it.
Really? You just love the issues when I introduce and I just come up with whatever the hell's in the brain pan at this exact moment?
It works.
Fair enough. Well, how do you feel about our topics this fine evening? Do you feel like you have sufficient ammunition, or are you subsisting off of the shit that I have posted?
I actually haven't even, if I'm being honest, I haven't even really been paying attention too much to the Discord this week.
Huh?
It has been an absolute grease fire at work.
Oh no.
Oh.
Were you wearing
I'm looking at them now.
Fire retardant?
Yes, I wish some retards got fired, but yeah.
Oh yeah, that's a good one. Well, alrighty. Well, let's spin the ring and we'll find out where we land. And since you're perusing the Discord, you get to tell me which one this is, because I still haven't fucking written these down or silenced my phone. That's awesome. Thanks, phone. Right, right is there. Okay. Damn, that was a long ass spin. All right, we've landed on air. Which fucking one's air?
Air is video games. Yay!
Sweet Jesus. Excellent. Exquisite.
So the first hour of this podcast is going to be Tim extolling the what would you call it? The excellence that is Metroid.
So here's the thing. Metroid DREAD, which I have played to 100% completion as of Thursday night.
How many hours did it take you? Just off the rip there.
Longer than fucking everybody else. That's for fucking shit. I think my clock was like 15, almost 16 hours.
That's decent.
There was some bitcher moments of both either my own stupidity or like that one little puzzle or secret area that I missed. And then there was some boss fights that old Tim did not do as well as the YouTube guides that he ultimately had to look up to figure out how to get through.
I mean, I'll cut you some slack. Not like you're a professional game reviewer for a living here that, you have to knock these things out in a record time.
Sure,
I'd say
and
16
speaking of-
hours is a good everyman.
Sure, because right now the world record speed run is 1 hour and 45. And I'm like, fuck you. Fuck
They're already
you.
setting speed run. Jeez. But I mean, can you really? Can you enjoy a game speed running it like that, or you just? I mean,
So here's the clever thing about Metroid Dread. Well, let me finish my first statement. I was going to say, when I started with "here's the thing" with the long ellipsis. If Halo Infinite's campaign doesn't stick the landing on December 8th, Metroid Dread, Game of the Year, 100%. Not even a fucking question. Like nothing else this year.
Even if Halo does stick the landing?
Well, that's what I'm saying. If they don't stick the landing and they're like, because I'm expecting the campaign to be fucking mind-blowing. And if Halo Infinite's campaign is not mind-blowing, then Metroid Dread wins it.
Okay.
You know? If Halo Infinite campaign is like really, really good, but it's not like, you know, top 3 Halo games, especially since I've been going through them with my friend Daniel. We're just about to finish Halo 4, actually.
Yeah, I noticed you've been streaming a little bit of it too.
I streamed some of it. I can't get the fucking second-person voice chat to come through on the stream on Xbox, and I gave up on that function some time ago. I started streaming it initially because we started all the way with 1, and I think I streamed 1 and 2, but it was just weird going back to the archive, and it's just me. Yeah. Well, don't do that, dumbass. You know, like just really weird. Just very, very weird. But yeah. So going back to Metroid Dread, because that's obviously, it's hot, it's fresh. It is the fastest selling Metroid game of all time. It's breaking all the Metroid sales records, which is good because historically the last 20 years of the franchise's sales have been not the greatest Nintendo marquee title selling thing.
Right. It's got a niche following that's very loyal.
Yes, 100%. And I think the thing that did it for this one is the fact that it is the in the opening credits, it bills itself, and this is on YouTube and stuff, this is not a spoiler, it bills itself as Metroid 5. So within its canon, of which all of the games are canon, whether you like the one that has a pinball game in it or not, it is the furthest in the Metroid timeline, and had the audacity to say in the early trailers this E3 that it was going to basically wrap up all these major plot threads that have been literally hanging for 20 years and then 35 years if you count the whole series. Motherfuck, they did it. They did it, and they did it so fucking unbelievably mind-bogglingly well. Like, and the weirdest thing is that the game's not made by Nintendo. Like, that is really the weirdest fucking thing you could say about the game. Like, absolute total kudos to the team from Spain, which is not an area of video game development that gets mentioned often. Mercury Steam, whose prior projects were sketchy to say the least. They did two 3D Castlevania games for Konami back in the 360 days. Then they did a side-scrolling Castlevania game in 3D, but it was terrible. And then somehow they got to do a remake of Metroid 2 on the 3DS, which I actually finished up just this week in preparation for this game. And it was a really good remake, but it wasn't like, you know, you're taking a Game Boy game and elevating it to a more modern Metroid game. So it didn't really have, the bar was real fucking low. So, I wouldn't necessarily call it like, oh, it's, like the, what's it, like the Resident Evil 2 remake, where it's like a totally brand new game and it's like really, really fucking good and makes it the original look like shit, but honors it. You know what I mean?
Sure.
And so everybody was pretty skeptical going into Metroid Dread because the team's track record was like, well, it's either gonna suck ass or it's gonna be pretty good and mediocre. But I never would have expected, like, this is game of the year. I think about it every night. I'm still thinking about the ending. I'm still thinking about the story, which I never thought I would say in a Metroid game. Like, the story's always been, solid, serviceable, sci-fi, popcorn, Nintendo's version of Aliens. But fuck, man, Metroid Dread. Goddamn. Like, it came in like the fucking Doom guy. Like, it's like, nah, we got this. Fuck off, everybody.
So, as someone that isn't, or that hasn't followed the Metroid series, would I still enjoy it, or do I need to have that history there?
100% do not need to have that history there.
Okay.
Everything in prior games that is relevant story-wise for you to enjoy the game is 100% there in the setup. It has a really rather almost too long like prologue that's just like Samus basically reading mission reports of the past, like all the games.
Right.
And it's like, did this. Here's a little text blurb. Here's like some cool, like almost concept art thing of said adventure. Moving on to next adventure. And here we are.
Gotcha. But like mechanic-wise, they didn't leave anything up to assumption. Well, you must have played the last 17 games or whatever, 7 games.
No. And there's tutorial stuff in honestly the most minimal tutorial for a Nintendo game I've seen in a very long time, given the fact that this is the first new, like genuinely new Metroid game in 20 years, which is insane. Like, yeah, it's basically just like there's some prologues, there's a cutscene intro, and then you're playing the game, and then like in like a little almost like ticker tape thing on the bottom is just like, there are blocks that, need to be shot with certain beams and rockets and stuff, and that just kind of drip feeds you that for like the first couple of hours, and then it kind of just goes away. So there's not really any barrier. And then I would say that the difficulty curve of the game is like a real nice gradual to about the middle.
Nice.
And then from the middle on, it's like, all right, we've been telling you how to do all this stuff for like the last half of the game. We're going to crank the difficulty all the way up here and assume that you were actually paying attention and have mastered all these abilities now, because now this shit gets real. Which I appreciated, actually.
Sure.
As someone who routinely and religiously plays these games. Prior to this release, I was playing Metroid Prime 2. I played and beat Metroid Zero Mission, which was a Game Boy Advance remake of the first Metroid. And I was going to play and beat Fusion last week, which canonically is the game that takes place right before this. But I got fucked on a work job on Tuesdays, so that did not happen. But a lot of people have held up Metroid, particularly Super Metroid from the NES era, or the Super NES era. A lot of people say that it's one of the greatest games of all time ever made, and everybody puts it on this pedestal. And the general consensus from the Metroid community is that Metroid Dread has come up behind it and snapped its neck and is standing over its corpse in a victorious pose. Because now I look at the other Metroid game. Yeah, now I look at the other Metroid games, I'm like, fuck. I love these, but now they feel old and antiquated for the first time in the series, because
Do you think it's
they
a creative thing, or did the technology finally catch up to the vision where they could actually put this in, like, make this game?
So that's a really curious question because allegedly Nintendo has been trying to make Metroid Dread for 10 years.
Hmm.
There's a lot of supporting evidence to this and rumors, and it originally started as a Game Boy Advance game, and then a DS game, and then a 3DS game, and then Nintendo themselves gave up on making it. And Mercury Steam, who did this Samus Returns remake of Metroid 2, were just like,
We'll give it a go.
yeah, they were just like, well, this sold well, and you guys are God, how do I? So if it's from Spain, do I call them Spanish?
Mhm.
Yeah, the Spanish team. I don't know what the currency rate is there,
the team from
but they're
Spain
just
is
like,
fine.
yeah, sure, the team from Spain. Um, and yeah, and I guess they've been working on this last 4 years, and um, it's interesting. Digital Foundry's already done a tech review on it. They're using their own engine called the Mercury engine, which also powered those Castlevania games that were hits and misses, and then also the Metroid 2 remake, and you can see some of the DNA in that, just from a technological standpoint, because one of the things that's unique about this game is that it is, despite the fact that it is made with 3D graphics, it is a 2D playing Metroid game.
Gotcha. The side
Through
scroller puzzler type
yes,
thing. Yeah.
yeah. So it's like all of the older games. It is not like the Prime series, which is first person.
Hmm.
Um,
But they do the depth layering.
and there's
Right.
shit going on in the background, and
Right.
sometimes you'll shoot shit, and little alien critters will scuttle into a hole or something. Or in other cases, you'll see menacing things in the background and be like, what's that? Where did it
Right.
go? But yeah, no, like it is the Metroid game and the Metroid formula, which coined the word Metroidvania, and
Hmm.
it is a Metroidvania game.
It better be.
But it does it. And I feel bad saying this because I've seen other reviews say this. It does Metroidvania better than any fucking Metroidvania before it, including ones in its own series. And it's just like, how the fuck did they make this? Because the thing about it is, everything's new. There's nothing.
Mhm.
There's no old maps. There's no there's no old, a common villain that she fights throughout the series is Ridley, because they keep resurrecting him in every fucking game that you kill him in. There's no Ridley for the first time in the whole goddamn series. There's no this, there's no that. They fuck with your mind, because usually in Metroid it's a very linear progression of, it's like, okay, well, there's a door there that I can't shoot with this beam because I need my charge beam to shoot the
Right.
door to open the door, and I need to turn into a small morph ball to bomb this one section of ground. And they really fuck with you in the first couple of hours, because as a Metroid player, you're like, I'm totally expecting like the second or third power up to be like the morph ball and the bomb and stuff. And you don't get those fuckers till way late in the goddamn game. And you're just like, fuck. Like, there's a meme going around of like,
It'd be like playing the latest Halo and not getting the BR until the final level.
or the assault rifle, or
Right.
something like that, and they play with you in really like asshole, like they know that they know ways, because it's like, oh, this power up is orange colored, I'm gonna go grab it, I fought the boss, I'm gonna get rewarded with an upgrade, and it's like,
Like,
what is the flash shift? What? I don't even know what that power up does. What the fuck you? What does that do? And then spoiler, it's Flash Shift, the greatest fucking thing ever put into a Metroid game. But man, like, it's so mind-numbingly good. And even though it is a 2D game, literally you watch any stream, anybody saying it, and it's just like, oh, these controls feel like fucking butter. Like, this feels so like exactly what you would expect to feel in a modern 3D take on Metroid. Like, the controls are just so fucking good. I would honestly say, let's see, in the Metroidvania category, Dead Cells is a game that I've talked about often, and it's still definitely up there in terms of being one of the best controlling Metroidvania games. Actually, it might have been the best one before Metroid Dread. Metroid Dread came along and they're like, huh, cute.
It's called Metroidvania for a reason.
Yeah, and it's just it's a joy to play. It's a blast to solve the puzzles. The world is utterly incredible. And again, for the first time ever, the story and the lore, there are some pretty fucking spectacularly animated cutscenes in this game. Like, it's it's better than I could have ever possibly hoped. Yeah, it's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. There's plot twists in the game that, as a person who's been following the game for 35 years, since its inception, blew my mind multiple times over. And it might have one of the most satisfying conclusions to a long-running video game series that I can think of in recent memory. Like,
Is that your stomach growling?
yeah, I don't know. It is.
Damn good mic. Like, it's the second time I was like,
yeah, I did it earlier, and I don't know. It's man, it's fucking good, dude. Like, I can't say enough things about it, and I really wish like you were also into the series and play the game, so I could talk about all the spoiler things that I desperately want to talk about with people.
Sure. But sadly, yeah. I'm trying to barely keeping up with the consoles as it is. So
I understand.
I was a Sega boy. Sorry.
So was I.
Right?
Or so am I guess. I'm still very much a Sega fanboy. But yeah, no. Metroid Dread is the real fucking deal. Man, it's so unbelievably good. And the other thing about it too is, for a Switch game, like, they used the fuck out of that hardware. Like, it looks better than any fucking Switch game. It runs at, like, Digital Foundry did a thing and they're like, it's not running at 720p. It's running at like 1600 by like 1000. And they're like, what the fuck are they doing? Switch games don't run higher than 720p. What is this? But it's weird because the game looks like really crisp, like graphically, which is not a thing the Switch does. Crisp is not in the vocabulary of the thing. And I played it most of the time docked on my 4K TV, so it's not like, it should look good on that type of resolution, but it fucking does. And I played it in handheld a couple of times because I was so fucking addicted to it. I was, playing in the bathroom and in bed and stuff like that. And even in 720p on the internal Switch screen, like, the game looks so fucking crisp. Like, I was looking at this and I was like, the fuck? The screen does not look this good normally. Like, what? I don't understand the wizardry that they did here.
Well, they took 4 years to make a 10-year-old game. Apparently, they put care and love into it. So,
yeah,
and I mean that makes me happy. There's nothing worse than getting a Halo 5.
Sure.
Right.
I mean, I'm definitely not a fan of some of the things that occurred in 5.
Right.
I'll be replaying it again shortly on my Halo replays with my friend. Um, you know, like, I mean, from a technical standpoint, I think Halo 5 looks really good and it runs really well.
Mhm.
The story is all over
Garbage.
the fucking place.
Yeah.
The multiplayer is good, but not what I want from a Halo game. Thankfully, Infinite is remedying that. Yeah.
It's
I'm always hesitant
when
to
you've
call
got something
Halo
that's got
5
that
hot
kind of
trash.
history like Metroid does. Like if they were to come out with a new Mega Man and make it a first-person shooter, it'd be what the hell, right?
I mean, yes and no. So it's funny you bring that up. So there actually was going to be a first-person Mega Man. It was going to be a full reboot team or a full reboot. It was by a company that was Americans, but they moved to Japan, called Armature, which is actually former Retro Studios employees, which is the team that built Metroid Prime. And they were doing for what they did for Metroid for Mega Man. And I encourage you to look up, I think it's on Polygon. There's some footage of a first person Mega Man, and it actually looks fucking awesome.
Sure.
But yeah, again, it looked fucking awesome. It never saw the light of day, unfortunately. But it's also like, yes, that's, it's a drastic move in another
But I mean,
direction.
how did Metroid Prime do?
Metroid Prime did very well. It was universally loved, actually.
Really?
Yeah. It was actually considered, the way it was handled in its move to first person, because it wasn't a first person shooter. And I know you've not played this, but the game didn't have twin stick controls. And that must sound weird as fuck, but in actual practice for the game, like, it felt more like a proper 3D evolution of the Metroidvania formula than, say, Mario or Sonic's move into 3D felt.
Okay.
And that's pretty well documented. I think it still holds like a 98 Metacritic or some shit like that. A lot of people like Metroid Prime. Metroid Prime 2 and 3 is another story, however. I personally liked all of the games in the Prime series. But most people loved the first one and only the first one of the Prime series. And that strangely too was handled by a completely different team other than Nintendo. So, I don't know, maybe the secret is Nintendo makes the
take it away from
thing,
Nintendo,
and you give it to somebody who really fucking cares. And I think that's the biggest thing that shows that on Mercury Steam's work on this game is like the sheer level of polish and like
respect,
nods to everything that came before it is so blatantly fucking like in your fucking face in the most loving, like feeding you like delicious cake. Like they're like, oh hey, kind of remember this kind of thing from this particular Metroid, like, yeah, I can't say enough good things about it. I'm obviously probably biased since I am a huge Metroid fan. But man, I was not disappointed at all. I'm not going to say it's a perfect game. A lot of people are already calling it a masterpiece that surpasses the Super Metroid game being a masterpiece. My couple of knocks on the game were the music is good, but there is very few memorable tunes in it, which is something Metroid is known for. They have a famous composer, I think it's Kenji Yamamoto. I might be butchering that.
Do you think that might have been something that got lost by it not being a Nintendo title now?
No, because he did the music. So I don't know. Like, they took a more atmospheric approach to music this time around. So like there's nothing like wrong or bad with the music that's in it, but it's just not very like, it's like, okay, I know the music of this zone and this zone, but it's just very like subdued in comparison to Metroid music that, you know, there's been metal cover bands and stuff that have made careers off of doing.
Sure.
You know, the classic tunes of Metroid. And it does kind of that thing that like Halo 4 or some of the Star Wars side movies that are no longer composed by John Williams does, where it's like you have the Metroid theme in the beginning and that's it. Everything else is brand new music. And even at the absolute mind fuckery awesomeness that is the finale, when you expect like the specific heroic hero music that's like a staple of the series to kick in, you don't get it. Like you don't even get it in the credits. And I'm just like, there is a missed opportunity here. I'm just saying. Like, I get that it is very much new and we're trying to pave the path for newness in this series that's, you know, hasn't had an installment in 20 years. And I don't hate the music. Like I said, some people do hate the music. It's just very
well, I mean, it's music. It's very subjective.
You know, there's nothing like it's it fits the game, I think, perfectly, but none of it is hummable is probably a good word to use. And then for my money, the final boss fight, interestingly, was not quite as exciting for me as the final boss fight in actually comparing it to Mercury Steam's what they did on the remake of Metroid 2, what they did in that final boss fight. I felt that one was more satisfying to play, whereas the one in Dread was more satisfying when cutscenes occurred in between the battle rather than the actual battle itself, if that makes any sense.
Okay.
So yeah, Metroid Dread. Played it. Anybody who has a Switch and is a Metroid fan or isn't should totally jump onto Metroid Dread because it's fucking incredible. The only thing that I could say that really might put some people off, and I've seen this happen, particularly as people get to the midway point, is some people have given up because the difficulty does spike up, expecting
hockey stick style, not granular or gradual.
Yeah, you know, and it's funny because even at, like, especially when you're getting spanked in the middle, you know, there's little tooltips and stuff and like the reloading screen and stuff like that, you know, and they even say in the tooltip, you know, like no boss is undefeatable, even though there's some times where it's like, how in the fuck I'm getting so fucking raped by this boss right now. Right. How do I kill him? You know, and then either
and it's that split second timing thing where you have a very small window where you have to basically stun them.
So there's two new mechanics in Metroid Dread that were not in any of the previous Metroids to date. With the exception of actually the remake of 2. So the remake of 2 added a counter mechanic. So basically, like, the enemy flashes for a split second right before they do some kind of devastating thing, and then you have a split second to hit, I think it's Y, on the controller, and then you get an instant counter, which stuns them, and you can do a shit ton of damage. In the boss fights, there can sometimes be multiple counters, and sometimes if you... Like, it's interesting. So the game's designed in such a way that you don't have to counter, but you'll probably be fighting the boss a long time if you don't counter.
Right. It's highly suggested that you do.
Yes, exactly. And when you do counter, it launches into these very interesting... I'm hesitant to call them like a God of War or a Shenmue QuickTime event, because they're not. Like, they're an event. Like, it switches from 2D and it like goes full cinematic. But you're in control of it. which is it's a little weird at first because you're like, oh, wait a minute, hang on.
Right. You're waiting for flashing,
Yeah,
beep, beep, beep,
some
beep, beep,
kind.
beep.
Yeah, but there's none of that. It's specifically like you have a free aim button on the right shoulder, and you get like a laser, and you can point. You can still do that. You can still do that in these cutscenes, and you're like, oh shit, I need to be shooting and aiming at very specific spots on the boss that now has me by the tail, ripping me around this fucking cavern in this amazing cinematic. But it's also playable. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And that's a very new thing in Metroid, and unfortunately, it's something they don't really explain very well, or even explain that you're supposed to be controlling stuff at that time. Like, there's no prompt for it. You
Sure.
just suddenly realize as you're, maybe accidentally hit the controller, thinking it's a cutscene, going, "Oh wait, shit, fuck, nope,
Right.
I need to be shooting." But man, some of those things are so fucking cool. And then getting to the last thing that I'll say on Dread, because you mentioned earlier about the speedrunners.
Mm-hmm.
So there's this thing in video games called sequence breaking, particularly in old 16-bit games like Super Metroid, where you can glitch a wall or glitch a thing and get a power up before you're supposed to, so that you can like cheese a boss.
Okay.
And all this sort of stuff. And in the early days when the game came out, I was hearing that there is indeed sequence breaking in this game. And I thought, oh, well, that sucks that, because the game seems so polished. Like, the game never crashed or anything on me or anything like that. I never had any issues with any general, like my playthrough was seamless. Like, I had zero problems. Well, actually, that's not true. Okay, I actually totally forgot about the biggest problem of all, which was, so the game came out last Friday, right? And I played it for 3 hours Friday night, and then went to resume my play Saturday morning, right?
Mm-hmm.
Saturday morning, my fucking save was gone. And I went, what?
And isn't that supposed to save in the cloud?
So, yes, Nintendo is funny. And so I went to go check my cloud save, which had updated 3 minutes before with no data. And I don't have any explanation for that, because I had closed the game. I had saved it and all that sort of stuff. Because you do manual saving in the game. There's no auto saves or anything like that. So my only guess is that save didn't. The last save that I did before I shut down, it didn't do its job. And then
that's a bummer.
Yeah. So, but I was only 3 hours in, and it definitely was a little sadder going through Saturday, and I definitely took way longer in those first 3 hours than I should have. Both A, because I was sad about it, and then B, because I'd somehow forgotten the solution to 2 of the puzzles that I'd whizzed through before, and I was like, what the fuck? I did this like yesterday. What the fuck?
Now you had new information.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, so that was the only game-breaking bug, literally, that I encountered. And I didn't encounter it when playing, which
Right.
is not where you would expect to encounter a bug. So going back to the sequence breaking thing, I was hearing rumors of people, being able to do this or that or get this power up early and stuff. And so it turns out later, now that I've seen a bunch of playthroughs, and most people have beaten the game by now, they designed the game to have sequence breaking in it. Like, it's part of the function of the way the game functions. So much so that there's a whole other fucking second way to beat the second boss in the game that is not only 90% cooler than what I already thought was the 100% cool boss fight, but that you can like one-shot him. And I'm like, what? The fuck? Which is wild. So like they literally designed the game in a way that's like people are going to figure this out, that they would probably do like an old school sequence break here, but they're like, nah, let's just design it into the game. And
Okay,
I'm like, that's fucking clever.
that's ballsy.
I've never even heard of that in a video game where it's just like, nah, people are going to figure out that we want you to go this way. And if you're just like a really arrogant gamer, or you're looking for those little nooks and crannies that'll give you some kind of weird edge in a particular room or something, it's like, nah, they're part of the game. And, you know, so much so that they reward you with it, which is crazy to me. I've
Oh,
seen
there's
some
achievements for it, or
I mean, it's a Nintendo game. There's not achievements, but like I said, like Boss 2, which is an incredible boss fight, you know, and takes like 10 or 15 minutes to do, you know, and you slay this boss out, can be one-shotted if you sequence break. Like
okay.
earlier than that, and you get ironically the morph ball and the bombs that I was talking about earlier. You can fucking fuck it, it's only boss 2. Like you can fucking get into this boss fight, and then there's like a hidden brick behind you that has a fucking morph ball cannon launcher that shoots you into the stomach of this bitch beast, and then you explode him from the inside out. And then it's done. The boss is over. And it's just like, what the fuck? That's crazy. You know, whereas before it's like, okay, well, you gotta shoot him in the mouth, and he throws things at you, and you gotta dodge these things. Okay, and you gotta watch for this attack, and like, you know, it's like, oh, well, if you were really crazy and you got into this room at hour 2 when you're not supposed to get into it until hour like 6 or whatever, you know, and you get these things and you jump this particular way that you really shouldn't be able to get by, but we've made it so that if you have like that amazing split-second timing, you can just fucking rip through this boss. Like that's crazy. I've never heard of that in a video game. So yeah. That's Metroid Dread. What have you been playing, Nate?
I have been playing my usual Destiny 2.
How is
And
Yield Destiny?
for the first time since they've gone to the seasonal pass model, I've managed to hit 100 levels on it.
Okay.
So that's how much of it
Is that-
I've
is that
actually
how
been
many-
playing. It's
I don't know how many levels are in a season pass these days.
100.
Oh, okay. So you maxed it out.
For
Nice.
first time ever. Is usually that I think the first season that they introduced it, I got to want to say 86. Maybe
Yeah,
it was 90 something.
I got to like 60 something in the Vex season pass that didn't
Right.
last more than a fucking month.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, sweet. So how many how much time do you had left on your season pass?
Well, here's the funny thing: is in a normal season, it would have been I probably would have had another month
Mm-hmm.
because it would have been typically the winter release is 11 something, you know, November something, second week,
Mhm.
first weekend of or first or second Tuesday of November. But because of production delays and whatnot, they've pushed it all the way out to February 22nd
Oh,
of
okay.
next year. Yeah, 2/22/22. Tuesday.
Does that push back
This season, yes.
I was saying, does it push back the Witch King or Witch Queen?
Yes. That Witch
Mm.
Queen is releasing in February.
I see.
So,
Well,
yeah,
alrighty then.
that was kind of a like the one time that I have extra time to maybe finally make it to level 100 on a season pass. I actually clear it with a month to spare. Like,
Fair enough.
that's the amount of the amount of time I've been playing, and right now they're doing the right now is the Festival of the Lost, which
Mhm.
yeah, it's kind of fun. They changed out the whole what did they do? The
haunted
haunted
incident-
forest. Yeah, it's gone.
Oh, what is it now?
It is now haunted lost sectors.
I mean, that sounds significantly less great.
It's kind of fun because and compared to I hated the Infinite Forest because you know just you get stuck in a whatever their iterative puzzles. and it just didn't. It
Sure.
right. It just
I
didn't
thought
have that hold on me.
well, and I thought the Infinite Forest from the previous seasons or years or whatever, which I did play, um, were fun, but the Infinite Forest themselves were like too dark.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's fine being dark, but it's like, all right, this is too dark for Destiny when you're fucking hopping through platforms and
Right.
one wrong jump and then you're off dead.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the Shattered Realm now is that dark motif. But no,
Okay.
they basically they took all took a bunch of the lost sectors. I don't know how many of them they are, but you replay them, and they're all Halloween themed. They've got the the little candles and jack o' lanterns all over the place. But then the objective is to spawn these giant what they call the headless ones, and
Okay.
they're like hive knights. Like
Sure.
you remember when
Oh,
you went the one that where you went all the way down in the bottom of the well and you had to hit it with the certain flavored swords or certain flavors to get the three swords.
bottom of the well, 3
I forget the
swords.
damn name of the knight, the hive knight. Like
Was
think of
it was this a thing in Destiny 2 or was it
it was
back
a
in 1?
Destiny 1 thing.
I mean, I did literally everything in Destiny 1.
Yeah, the exotic
So
swords. There was 3 exotic
probably.
swords.
Oh, yeah. In the on the Taken King's
Mhm.
ship, whatever it was, the Dreadnought.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you remember that
Yeah, I did all of
ass
those.
guy.
Yeah, those were great.
Yeah. So think of that with a giant jack-o'-lantern head. Like a flaming jack-o'-lantern head coming at
Yeah.
you.
Okay.
So
Fair enough.
they explode and give you candy like you've whacked a pinata.
Hmm. Fair enough.
So and then yeah, that you do that a few rounds and then it brings up the boss and then you keep summoning them and they start dropping flaming jack-o'-lanterns. That is the only way to break the shield of the boss.
Okay.
So
Okay.
it's kind of fun. It's very rewarding. Um, you can get screwed up real fast if you're not paying attention.
Mm. Okay.
That's the one thing I didn't like about the haunted forest was you could kind of just blindly run it. You didn't really have to pay attention unless you were trying to hit the max whatever 10
Oh yeah.
rounds of it, right?
I remember that.
So yeah, it's good times.
Okay.
And then we have the 30th anniversary coming up right after that. So that's what I'm looking forward to myself.
30th anniversary of what?
The Bungie 30th anniversary.
Oh, right. The thing that's got like some Halo stuff in Destiny.
Halo Marathon, etc.,
cool.
etc. Mist, I think.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to that. And then
they did not do Mist.
They did not do Mist.
You're thinking so they did a game that was spelled very similarly called Myth.
Myth. Thank you. You're right.
Yeah, there's some Myth stuff. I know this because I played it on my Mac back in the day.
Yep.
And I remember the graphics being so amazing because you could like dismember a body and like the blood would like go over the sprite or something. It was a really weird game. Like in retrospect, it was a fucking ugly ass game. It's like a PlayStation 1 game where there's like sprites on like a 3D field.
Well, it's like going back and playing Quake 2 without the 3D enhancement.
It's funny you mentioned Quake because they did that surprise Quake remaster that came out on Game Pass.
I have it downloaded.
It's pretty good. It's really good.
Quake 2, Quake 3, Quake 3 Arena. All the Doom games came out.
They don't have 3 Arena out.
Game Pass.
Unless it's on PC, and I don't know about it.
Oh, yeah, it might be on PC only.
Okay, fair enough. Wait, does it tell you in the Game Pass app? Let me look. Let's see, Game Pass app. Let's see. Oh, right, there's a tab at the front.
Quake 3 Arena. And then Doom 2, Doom Eternal, Doom 64.
Yeah, all the Dooms are on there.
Yeah.
All the Dooms are on PC and Xbox, all fully remastered. But the thing about the Quake one is the Quake added a new campaign. Did you know that? Yeah, it's crazy. I played a little bit
I've yet to play it. And the other thing that kind of ties into this, Destiny 2 just came to Game Pass.
I don't understand what you mean because it came last year. Because that's how I played on Xbox last year
For
with Beyond
PC.
Light. Oh, on PC.
Uh-huh.
Okay. Right. We
Which
got to
that's an
differentiate, man. You got to
interesting
raise a flag.
yeah, that's an interesting conundrum because it was on Blizzard. Then
Oh,
for
true.
a
Right. They had to extract all their code out.
right. Then for a hot
Yeah.
minute it was on both Blizzard and Steam.
Mhm.
And then Steam became the exclusive place for it, and now it's going to be on Game Pass.
Mhm.
So it's an interesting conundrum because I don't like I'm installing it to see if it's the same PC version or if it's like almost a ported Series X version of it.
Sure. Yeah. Speaking of interesting things, did you hear about how Kotaku riled up most of the video gamers on the internet once again?
Yeah, I do believe I did hear this.
Yeah. So the Friday that Metroid DREAD came out, there's an article published on Kotaku whose headline, paraphrasing, something to the effect of Metroid DREAD plays great on the Nintendo Switch emulator on PC, and you should download it for free and not give Nintendo your money.
Yeah.
And I mean, and thankfully, at least I observed this on Twitter, 90% of people ripped into Kotaku for the asinineness of them posting something like that.
Right, but then you have
And-
the 10% of exclusivity bashing, you know.
Yeah, the people who are still pissed that Fortnite is not back on iOS. Yeah, those
Right.
people.
that are pissed that God of War can't play on an Xbox kind of thing or a PC,
Sure.
right?
Yeah. I think God of War is on PC now, isn't it?
Is it? I don't know.
They have a large number of PlayStation 4 exclusive games that have been on PC, from Death Stranding to
Right, you get my point though.
Yeah,
Like,
anyway. Yeah. Yeah, so and then of course, thankfully, the Metroid fan community was like, this is the first fucking game we've had in 20 years. Everybody fucking band together, buy multiple copies, show Nintendo that
Right.
we fucking missed this goddamn series. So yeah, so that's been good. And I saw actually that a couple days ago in Japan, Metroid DREAD had beat in sales the latest Call of Duty, which was fascinating.
That's
because
fascinating. Yeah.
Call of Duty's big even over in Japan, and so that's a big deal. And actually, Metroid DREAD has sold more than the last 3 main Metroid games. We're not counting the pinball spinoff and stuff like that. Than the last 3 main Metroid games released in the series. So it's looking good for the Metroid future. Everybody and the dog is like, Nintendo needs to fucking buy Mercury Steam like right the fuck now, because they need to be a Metroid studio and only a Metroid studio, because this is ridiculous. So yeah, no, it looks good on that. And of course, a pox and shame on Kotaku, and particularly the writer who had the audacity to say something like that on a site as big as Kotaku, which is ridiculous. I'm sure Nintendo has fucking revoked all of their shit now. Because, that's what Kotaku does, is they exist and keep writing weird ass fucking articles that make people rage.
Right. Well, didn't they also write one about Back for Blood came out, right?
Yes. I haven't
Which that was a good
haven't checked
one.
it out yet.
Yeah, and I think it might have been Kotaku that made some snide remark about, this is the game that who was the original that Valve should have made.
So the conundrum of that one is Turtle Rock,
right? And they got called on it. Like whoever made that Twitter post got called on it. And we're like, yes, Turtle Rock is the developers of it that used to work for Valve. They were Valve South,
Yep. Yep. For a hot second.
Right.
Yeah. Like, I think it was the Portal situation where they made the game and then Valve bought them.
Right.
And then Left 4 Dead 2 was fully made by
Val
Valve
South.
owned
Yeah.
Turtle. I think they were still called Turtle Rock, if I remember right, in the splash screen on the 360.
Mm-hmm.
And then they became Valve South, and like most Valve things in that era, didn't do a goddamn thing to the public knowledge. And then they bought themselves back, did the criminally underrated Evolve, which I think was a fantastic game that had no one to play with, which was all the more ironic because the teammate AI in that game was fucking fantastic. I played a lot of it just with the AI, but then, you know, it was sad because it was just the AI. Yeah, and then all these years later, they're doing that, a Left 4 Dead game in all but name, which is fine.
All but name,
sure.
but still has the number.
I mean, yeah, I guess true. Left 4 Dead, Back 4 Blood. Yeah, sure, sure, whatever their obsession is with that naming convention, I guess. Well, it must be working because I had a friend who's a casual gamer and was just like, "Hey, did you play the new Left 4 Dead?" And I was like, "You mean Back 4 Blood?"
Right.
Long pause. Yeah, what did I say? And I was like, "Yeah,
It's recognizable, right?
I understand your confusion." Yeah, it's true. It is recognizable. It's a whole phenomenon at the time. I hope it's good. I have it downloaded. Haven't checked it out myself.
I played the beta when it was out, and
I downloaded the beta. I didn't. I somehow missed playing it during the window. There's like something else going on that weekend, I think.
Yeah, it just so happened that after one of my podcasts, everyone was like, "Hey, have you downloaded this new Back 4 Blood?" And no, and we got into a quick little 2-hour game of it.
Fair enough. Well, how was your beta impressions of it? Since I have not actually touched it.
Like, to me, it felt like Call of Duty Zombies.
I mean, isn't that what Left 4 Dead felt like?
I don't know. I never played Left 4 Dead.
Oh, so, okay, fair enough.
Yeah, it didn't. You know, I like the move and objective part of it. It wasn't so just sit in a room and get swarmed and hoarded, which.
Yeah, that was never Left 4 Dead's thing.
Right.
Were very
but it
objective,
was
level-based stuff, which was nice.
You know, kind of the Destiny formula. It's like, okay, pop your ghost and sit in this circle and defend this point for, whatever 50 enemies, and then move to the next objective, and then it's whatever the clear out the swarm and then move to the next objective. Yeah, a lot of trope mechanics that worked well. Like, the game itself felt pretty solidly. There wasn't points where you were getting cheesed on stuff, but if you sat on your butt, burrowed in a corner, you'd eventually get overrun.
Right.
So.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
I was happy. I was happy with it. It was like, it's not really my genre, but
okay.
It was fun to play, especially as a group. I couldn't imagine playing this one solo.
Yeah, I mean, Left 4 Dead was never really meant for solo play. Like, you could totally do it, and they had competent AI at the time. So I would assume this game would check all of the boxes that Left 4 Dead did.
Sure.
So,
and then you have New World, where the tree chopping simulator.
Yeah, did you get to play that?
No, but I've watched my brother-in-law play it. Actually, sorry, I've watched him chop down trees for the last week.
On a stream, or
no.
You were really
when I'm over there?
Watch him?
Basically, anytime I'm over there and he's not working, he's on his second monitor chopping down trees. That seems to be the only thing you do in that game. I don't understand it. I know it's the MMO formula that everybody loves, but I just don't.
Okay.
I can't do it. Like,
I mean,
and everyone I talk to, like, I make that joke and they're like, yeah, that's what you do. You chop trees down and you break rocks and you, like, tediously grind away at things. And I'm like, yeah, no.
I mean, look at it this way. Minecraft is one of the most popular games of all time, undeniably, because it still fucking charts somehow every month. And you grind in that game and craft things. And that is now going to be ingrained in this
But isn't that
next
all you do with that game?
I mean, yeah, you grind and then you build stuff. Like that's and you
Right.
survive. Like that's what you do. You know, you grind, you build stuff. You know, that's what you do. I mean, there is an end point in Minecraft. I know because I've done it.
Mm.
You go and you get the things and you go through the portal and you fight the fucking dragon and kill the fucking dragon and hooray and the credits go. You know?
And then you start all over again.
No, you go back to your main world and continue.
Okay.
But, you know, whatever. It's fine. I don't have any personal pun intended axe to grind against.
Yeah, I just that's never really been my
played an
thing, and
awful lot
it's
of it.
like it's funny, like you know, the game looks super great, and you know, as long as you're not one of those poor unfortunate souls that the frame rate gets away from the game and cooks your video card.
Oh, is that still doing that on New World?
I don't know if they patched it yet. I haven't seen anything about it, but I know everyone's been recommending capping your frame rate.
Oh gosh.
Right, that's unfortunate.
Speaking of frame rate, I'll just touch on it here. I'll obviously talk about it a little bit more in technology because I have an iPhone 13 Pro now.
With the variable refresh rate,
with 120 hertz variable refresh rate, which you know it looks smoother on normal things. However, I got Genshin Impact up and running on it. Linked with my place. Well, yeah, you know that's what you do. But it had the full 120 hertz variable refresh rate mode, which not many games have. Mostly because, well, not many things have it. Period on the phone. Mostly because that's one thing in the iOS that the API for it from Apple is actually delayed on.
Okay.
It's probably going to hit in the 15.1 release. A lot of app developers are a little bit unhappy about that because they didn't disclose that beforehand. So they're like, hey, we want to update the thing, but we don't know how to do it. Where's the fucking API? But anyway, you know, the old Chinese are like, nah, we got this. So I played an hour of it last night in bed with a gaming controller. So I've heard some people say that 120 frames a second in video gaming is like the new 60, you know, and 60 is a big deal in terms of a jump from, you know, games that were 30. And then, of course, going back to the old 16-bit and 64 days, you know, 14 frames a second and whatever the fuck. You know, and it's a big deal, and 120 is a big deal. I didn't particularly notice anything like mind-boggling about it, other than everything just felt super smooth.
Right.
Like, you know, it's like, okay, this feels like the smoothness of 60, just a little bit more. You know, I would not say that it's like the you know, the 1080p to 4K jump. Like, I consider that jump, yeah, no, that's a big jump. All right, that is a noticeable fucking difference in clarity, you know?
Yeah, less jaggies on the edges and
yeah. So 120 look great. I have nothing else to say about it. And then obviously the main part of the OS, Apple themselves is of course using it in the OS, and you know, things just seem a little snappier. So that's pretty much all I've got to say on that in terms of frame rate. And that, I guess, the most surprising thing too, because Genshin Impact is a full console game on mobile, or vice versa.
And again, I
however,
think we've had this discussion where I think Genshin is the new Skyrim that, if a toaster comes out with a screen on it, Genshin will run on it.
I mean, maybe. I mean, the game's very scalable. I mean, at the end of the day, MyHo is the video game developer name. They're very capable developers. And the game runs on Unity, which is a very scalable engine. But I ran it maxed out, looking better than how it looks on my PS4 Pro on my new iPhone. And I certainly expected my iPhone to overheat, because the game even gave me the we're overclocking and
Right.
you might overheat your phone. And nope, phone never got more warm than a long phone call.
Sure.
And I was like, cool.
Literally.
Yeah. Because I'm definitely, having played a lot of games on phones, and even my XS, which did overheat depending on the game, was definitely a remarkable change.
Yeah, I haven't tried doing any gaming on the company phone just because it's the company phone.
That's probably wise.
That, and I'm having enough trouble seeing things on my Note. Going to a smaller screen probably would not serve me well.
I thought you said you had a Max.
I have a Note. I have a Note Note 10 Plus.
Is that bigger than a Mac? I don't know the screen size difference.
Yeah, it's a 6.9 inch diagonal. And then the company phone they gave me was just a standard iPhone 11.
Oh, it's not a Max.
No.
So it's probably like a 6.1.
Yeah.
Okay, I gotcha.
Yeah, I basically have the biggest phone you can have, that's still called a phone.
I gotcha.
Right, what they start calling them tablets at 7?
Yeah, fair enough. Last bit of gaming things to talk about. Me and the wife are playing Life is Strange, True Colors. We're playing a bunch of that today, actually, streaming it. Check it out, Tim_K Trotter or Tim
_K Trotter.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Or just go to our website, www.dynamicworksproductions.
www, damn it.
You can just go to our website, dynamicworksproductions.com. Click on the social tab.
Speaking of which, you have a typo in your Twitter bio, but that's fine.
Oh, I do?
Yeah, for the Dynamic Works Twitter. Or no, for your Tim Twitter. As I derail the podcast, he's like, no way. Yeah, you found it, right, Chef?
I'm looking at, hang on, I gotta switch out of my porn account. You think I'm joking.
No, I know you're not. Yeah, there it is. Yeah. Chef Ninja. I don't know why I was on your Twitter site today. I think it was something you commented on. You commented on someone that made a post on what was it? Oh, they were talking about getting a new Mac.
Where's my typo exactly?
Chef Ninja. Audio Chef Ninja. In your bio. Author of Citadel The Arrival, podcast creator, host on Get Fork Pod. Audio Chef Ninja. That ain't it, Chief.
That's okay. Thank you for telling me about that. And letting me sit with it for years and years, just like www. I actually do get Chief and
Yep. Yeah, I happen to notice it today because I think you had mentioned something to someone about upgrading wanted to upgrade their Mac.
Yeah, I was fucking scrolling through and somebody casually, I do that sometimes. I don't know why.
Mhm.
Like, I just will casually be scrolling through and whatever the fuck Twitter algorithm gives me, whatever, and I'll just be like, oh, I know
Yep.
the answer to this person's question.
Yep, I do
Boom.
that as well. Just not so much on this on my main account, on my super secret ninja account.
Your super secret ninja account.
Mhm.
Gotcha. Fair enough. Um,
It's the one where I follow all my sports ball stuff and all my obscure politics stuff that I don't like coming in on my gaming feed.
fair enough.
So,
Let's see. What was I saying before you derailed the show? Me and the wife playing Life is Strange: True Colors.
yes.
It is a fantastic entry in Life is Strange so far. When the game doesn't fucking crash in the middle of my stream 3 times today. Like,
Ah.
I don't understand.
Does it crash when you're not streaming?
I don't know. Haven't tried.
Okay.
Um,
So we don't know if it's necessarily the game yet or the combination of gaming, streaming, lack of resources.
I'm on a Series X. There ain't no lack of resource.
I mean, we are talking about Twitch here that, in all their infinite wisdom, left the back door unlocked.
Yeah, that's true. That is a dough. Did you want to talk about that?
We can. I
It's
don't know
up-
that it's
up
that
to
much of a
you.
thing yet.
I mean, we might never know if it's much
Right.
of a thing until
This
we
could turn
all
out to be
start-
another OnlyFans, right? Where it was like,
Yeah, or
oh,
we
this is
could-
not news anymore. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. Let's see. Yeah, Life is Strange, True Colors, very, very good. Best the graphics have ever been in the series. The facial animations are on fucking point. Weird fucking graphical artifacting while you're playing. Don't know what that's about. And then just random straight back to the Xbox menu. No warning, no whatever. Happened 3 times today.
Interesting.
Yeah, don't know what's up with that. Also, I don't think the game has had a patch, and it's been out since like mid-September. So I don't know what's going on with that. Maybe they're baffled about it. I don't know. Somewhat curious, given that the fact that the game's on Unreal Engine 4. So one would think
Right.
that one would be a little bit more less prone to crashing than other engines for sure.
It's weird that that's being a Unreal Engine not available on the PC. At least not on Xbox.
What do you mean not available on
Life
PC?
is Strange.
Oh, True Colors? It should be. I
Maybe
would
it's
think.
a Steam thing.
Oh, yeah, it could be. It's made by.
There it is. Yeah.
It's made by Deck 9 Games out of Colorado, I think, and it's a Square Enix game. So yeah, it's probably on Steam. Yeah. The only other thing I have to throw out is Smash Brothers revealed its final fighter.
I heard people were losing their shit over this. It lost on me.
I don't care personally, having even played 2 of the game's entries. I would have much rather had Doom Guy or Master Chief. We did get a consolation prize in that there's a Doom Guy costume now officially in the game with some of the Doom, heavy metal rock stuff. But yeah, no, the final DLC character for Super Smash Bros. Ultimate's development cycle before it wraps up development cycle in mid-December, once they've patched whatever's fucking broken on this character, is Sora from the Kingdom Hearts series. So that marks 3 characters from Square Enix, specifically Final Fantasy and Final Fantasy adjacent
Right.
franchises. Since Kingdom Hearts a weird blend of that and Disney. Um, and yeah, I mean, he looks fine as a fighter. It's a little bewildering to me as a character, as typically, um, usually, I say usually because it's not always the case for whatever reason.
Mhm.
Like the games are representative in force on Nintendo hardware. That's why a lot of people are like, well, it could be Doom Guy. Like
Mhm.
Nintendo has historically had all of the Doom games, you know, um, or some people were maybe theorizing Master Chief purely on the speculation that Switch is probably going to have Game Pass one day,
Mhm.
and that Banjo-Kazooie and Steve from Minecraft are already characters in it. So why not Chief and go out with a huge bang and a fuck you to
Right.
whomever else, but it ended up being Sora, and as we know, these things are actually planned out like way in advance, like 8 months in advance, because it takes a long time to build a fighter, let alone in this case secure rights.
Mhm.
And obviously
Secure
they
rights,
already.
build a fire, balance them, make sure that yeah.
Mhm. Well, and then you're balancing that against, fuck, I don't know what the roster size is now, 87
Right.
characters. It's the biggest fighting game ever made, period. Not even a fucking question anymore. And represents like 60 some video game franchises or something. It's crazy.
Yeah, like I think the only team that could compete with that as far as character sizes would be Capcom.
Yeah, and they would have to be in a like a Marvel versus Capcom setting,
Mhm.
using every Capcom character, you know. And even then, Capcom's in on it because they've got fucking Mega Man's in there and
Right.
fucking, it's like, all right, well, so it goes. So yeah, Sora's out. He's out on the 18th, I think it is. So that's good that now all of the insane speculation can finally be over with for
Sure.
Smash Brothers. And the poor game director who's hospitalized himself like 4 times over working on this game during its development cycle can finally get some sleep, and maybe Nintendo will release him from his cage that he's been working in on this fucking game. This is not a joke, by the way. This is a legitimate thing that has happened. This dude is notorious for overworking. There was a Nintendo Direct where he showed up with an IV in. Like, what the fuck? Really weird stuff. I don't know, whatever. Japanese culture. So that's a thing. And then in this same Nintendo Direct, and I'm only bringing it up because of my love of the franchise, and then also the fact that it's actually good. They stealth fucking launched in the Nintendo Direct 2 weeks ago the Castlevania Advanced Collection, which bundles Castlevania Circle of the Moon, Harmony of Dissonance, Area of Sorrow, and very strangely uh, the Japanese PC CD game Dracula X, which never came out on the Game Boy Advance. So really strange that it's in the collection of the Game Boy Advance games. But they packaged all 4 of these games together for $20, which blew my goddamn mind, given the fact that it's a Konami property and they like money and hate the fans. But not only did they package it together for $20, but the ports were done by famous Japanese port studio M2, who is famous for doing good ports. And the ports are good. And that's
Okay.
available on every goddamn system under the sun. I personally picked it up on Switch, probably because of the nostalgia of playing them on my Game Boy Advance, and also
Right.
Switch is portable. Yeah, and you can play them in pixel perfect. You got the rewind, you got the save states. They did a thing to the audio because the Game Boy Advance had like really good audio, but it was also like really like, it was one of those catch-22s where the Game Boy Advance had really good audio and could do really cool stuff, but it also sounded kind of like fuzzy, like from a radio station. They did a cool little trick where since everything's running in emulation anyway, where it
Mhm.
like cleans that up so it sounds like super crisp, like a fan AI algorithm rip of the soundtrack. And then game has full controller mapping, and it's 3 of the greatest Castlevania games ever made, in the Metroidvania style for $20. Like, I
Huh.
fucking like it. It's a mind-bogglingly cheap proposition considering these Game Boy Advance cartridges, because they're rare now, and previously hasn't been available before this. They're going for like hundreds of dollars on eBay and shit. Um, which I guess, like, in retrospect, it's one of those things where it's like, fuck, I could have sold those for hundreds of dollars. But then the other part of me is like, I would have never sold them for hundreds of dollars because those games are fucking amazing. And I do go
Which is
back
why
and
they
play
sell
them
for
from time
hundreds
to
of
time.
dollars. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the catch-22 of that shit. So I encourage anyone who's a fan of Castlevania or Metroidvanias, it's $20 fucking dollars. It's 4 fucking games. There's like, I don't know, 150 hours worth of games in there.
hmm
And 3 of those are masterpieces, in my opinion. So, yeah, they probably are a little bit dated since obviously they were built for the Game Boy Advance. So, your controls are, a D-pad, 2 buttons, 2 shoulder buttons, and a start and select,
hmm
But, like, bro, that's a fucking bargain. And they're remade well. Like, that's a crazy, and it's Konami? Like, they must have been smoking that day for sure, because they do not like fans. We've established this. So yeah, I think that's
That's good for gaming.
yeah, that's it. Okay, wait. There is one thing that is new because that broke this week, and that's so in this Nintendo Direct that I'm talking about 2 weeks ago,
hmm
they announced the Nintendo Switch Online expansion pass for their online service, which adds Nintendo 64 games and, interestingly, Sega Genesis games
Right.
to their catalog online service, and also adds online play for those games that have 2-player, including, crazily somehow, like Mario Kart 64 is going to have online multiplayer for the first time ever, which is wild.
That's going to
Um,
be interesting with latency.
so here's the thing, and I don't understand this, Nate.
It'd be different if it wasn't, for the Switch being so much touted as a primarily handheld device, which means you're doing wireless typically by default.
Yeah, but it's been fine. I've never had, personally for me with my internet, I've never had the internet problems with the Switch like I've heard some people say.
Right, but I'm saying something that is as twitchy as a Mario Kart.
Yeah, but it's Mario Kart 64. Like, the game ran at like 20 frames a second. Like, it's not the 60 FPS Mario Kart 8 Deluxe that's on the Switch.
I just, I can see someone chucking their Switch because a random turtle shell gets them that, never showed up on the screen because of network latency.
Yeah. So here's where it gets weird for me, because I don't understand this. So the normal Nintendo Switch Online is like, I don't know, it's like $7 or $12 a month, and you get the online and you get their NES and Super NES collection for free, or with subscription. Now the expansion pass is an additional $50 on top of
For the
that.
year, right?
Yeah, if you're looking at it for the year.
Yeah.
So if I'm understanding this correctly, so we're saying hypothetically like $75, which puts it a little bit above, $60 for Xbox Live or $60 for PlayStation Plus, in the yearly category. And the internet seems to be losing its fucking mind about this, and they're mad about it. And I'm very, very confused about this, because A, I don't see what the big deal is, financially speaking, because A, this extra $50 a year is optional if you want to partake of these things. Also, very strangely, the expansion pack, as they're referring to it, a little throwback to the N64 expansion pack.
Right.
Also includes other stuff for Nintendo games, like in the future. Like I guess there's a paid DLC for Animal Crossing that's coming out, and it's included in the pack for your subscription fee.
Well, that makes sense. You have a
purchase
little bit of
separately.
bait there. Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, interesting. But people are losing their fucking mind. They're claiming that the value proposition of that is way shittier, like against like regular Xbox Live and PlayStation Plus. And I'm just like, that's
a bad comparison, because it should be being compared to something like Game Pass Ultimate, because you're getting a game library with your service subscription. And I mean, Game Pass Ultimate, you're looking at $180 a year.
Sure.
So for $75 a year, you get access to the Nintendo library plus some. Like, that was a good value by itself.
Yeah, so you get 64, Sega Genesis, NES, and Super NES.
Mm-hmm.
And any of those games that have 2-player across all 4 of those virtual consoles also have online play.
Mm-hmm.
And
now, are these... Does the Nintendo service, can you basically play the game for free, or do you have to then turn around and buy the games as well?
So the funny thing on this particular iteration, because Nintendo has had it where you buy like individual virtual games. They did it during the Wii, DS, 3DS, and Wii U era. You cannot buy any of the games on these older consoles outside of the service.
Okay.
Which is a little odd to me, because I would think, if you're making money and these games already exist, just make it like like you did in the previous generation.
So you got to pay for the subscription service and pay for the game. It's very Stadia-ish.
No. So on Switch, you only pay for the subscription service. You cannot buy the game.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So basically, it launches an app. Or the way it sits on the Switch is it's an app of the console, and then the console loads into a menu that's got like a little bookshelf of all the various...
So these are basically, they're all free titles that come with the subscription.
Correct.
Then that's an insanely
and then stuff gets
value
added
proposition.
And then the games get added to the service monthly, or I think at one point it was monthly, and now it's just kind of whenever the fuck Nintendo feels like it. But at this point, it's like, at least on the NES and the Super NES, anything that you really like, all the good ones are there. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, I don't understand why people are losing their minds, and it's weird to me because some people are tweeting out this hashtag that it's like the Kotaku article was right, and we should steal from Nintendo, and I'm just like, I don't understand why people are mad about this. Like, okay, like I get not
because it's more money, right? It's
sure it is more money.
Most people aren't looking at the value proposition of it.
Agreed.
Right? They're not looking what they're getting. They look at it as well, you should have, because I was already paying for your service at whatever, the $50 a year.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you should have just been putting all those games in the regular library. And it's like, well, yeah, we could have.
Yeah, that's true.
Maybe that's where they're pissed.
Maybe, I don't know. It's weird,
but even that, it's like,
because the basic Nintendo Online is cheap, though. That's the thing. It's cheap by like $30 or $40 less than the other guys. Like, and I don't understand.
Much less.
And I've seen some people be like, well, their quality, their online service isn't the same as Xbox or PlayStation. And I was like, yeah, no duh, because this is the first time it's actually worked.
Right.
Like, I don't know. I don't have...
Yeah, like I think it's just the money of it. It's just you already got me buying one thing. Now you're making me pay more to keep doing it. Again, this is the Destiny argument all over again. Because they're vaulting things, and it's like, well, I paid for that. I should be able to have that in perpetually.
Yeah, in perpetuity. Yeah,
in perpetuity. Thank you.
Yeah,
my stammer wasn't letting me get away with that one. And there's a certain point where, yeah, you're right. I think was it Mike that just, or someone else tweeted, it's a good thing I just got the expansion, the Forsaken expansion 2 weeks ago, because it's going to be free in 2 weeks.
Oh, I don't know who did
Right.
somebody say that in the
Yes.
Discord?
No, it was on Twitter,
Oh, okay.
but it came across my feed, so I know it's someone I know. I can't recall it right off the top of my head. But yeah, and this is, this has happened before where, people have bought versions of the game or versions of the DLC, right before the holidays so that they could play with their friends. And then at the holidays, Bungie announces, this is all free now. And then in this case, it's like they're making the entire Forsaken campaign free and then taking it all away come February. It's going into the vault. So someone who just paid for it wasted their money for something that they could have gotten for free 2 weeks from now that is completely going away for good. The whole content's gone.
Well, is it going away for good? Because I thought that was the point of them calling it a vault.
None of that stuff's forever. We haven't seen anything come out of the vault yet.
Fair enough.
That's where, you can call it a vault, but if it's just a trash can with, a safe dial put on the front of it, it doesn't make it a vault.
Oh man, that's almost a good title of this episode. It says, staring through the audio waves over at Tim. You can call it a vault, or what'd you say? You said it's as a.
Oh, I guess you're just gonna have to go through with the edit. Hold on, I'm looking here. No, I'm not on the text to speech. Sorry.
Oh, you're on my Skype.
There you go.
I don't know how you scroll through the text to speech. Can you scroll through the text to speech? Oh, you can.
There you go.
You can't call it a vault if it's just a trash can.
There you go.
Yeah, that's good. Can't call it a vault if it's just a trash can. There you go. Title of the episode, folks. We did it.
But yeah, I understand where people is like, okay, we've already paid you, now you're asking for more.
Yeah, it's true. But then that goes right back into the older argument of digital rights content and what you own as a consumer. For example, a lot of people have used in the legal realm, your contract with let's use, I mean, it's not called that anymore, but the iTunes music and movie store. You are buying a thing on good faith that Apple as a company will be around forever to deliver this good to you, no matter what. Now, I as a consumer, and Apple being, the biggest fucking tech company in the world, at least by, money wise these days, can say to myself, okay, if I buy a movie through Apple, pretty good chance 10 years from now, I will still have access to it with my exchange of money.
Right.
Something that is not good in the games industry, ironically, except for Xbox, is you cannot buy a digital good on, let's just take Nintendo, for example. Because I ran into this just the other week. So I when I said I played Metroid Zero Mission and was intending to beat Fusion, I originally was going to play them on my actual Game Boy Advance, but I don't know where the fucking my goddamn box is that has the cartridge for the fucking game. But have a Wii U, and it's $7 to play on a comfy gamepad and not a cramped Game Boy on my big screen.
Sure.
And I'm like, I'll take that action because I know that game, despite that I can beat each of them in about 3 hours, is a totally smooth, wonderful experience, because I played them 1,000 times, so it's like, all right, $7, sure, good. Then the argument then becomes, okay, that's a cool experience. Why is that a same experience, given the fact that it is Nintendo, is that not available on your Switch since you've already paid for it digitally?
Right.
That then becomes the argument. And I know specifically in the Wii U and Switch case that the technological differences between them are vast. You're going from a PowerPC ancient school processor to an NVIDIA ARM processor that's
Right, but aren't they
modern.
already doing some emulation of the older consoles?
Sure. And then that becomes the argument then too, isn't it? It's
right.
like, well, if they're already emulating it, it means they already have an emulator that works good. And it's like, all right, just rewrite the emulator so that it works good on ARM.
Right.
And obviously, further, the argument is, well,
or at least good enough that if you get enough people playing it and complain about it, then you can put the effort in. You can justify the effort.
Exactly. And then the argument also becomes, like, well, the Nintendo Switch Online virtual console, the NES and the Super NES, it's like, well, those are clearly emulated, yeah, so I don't know. It's one of those things. Digital rights management is a tricky topic.
Yeah, and I never look at it as if I'm, because again, Game Pass Ultimate, I never look at it as I own these games. I'm basically funding to keep the infrastructure alive so that I can keep playing these games.
Sure.
Right.
And I think
things come and go. Things come and go from the library all the time, and they'll give you a deep discount if you want to continue to have it in your library. And I like the model.
Well,
but it's so arbitrary, right? It's so arbitrary.
Well, it is true. It's 100% arbitrary, and it's entirely up to, the end user agreement that everybody's scrolled through and checked and somehow digitally signed, and really the only company who has gone above and beyond in that category, ironically, is Microsoft. I never intended that any of the digital games that I had on 360, I never had any hope that they would move forward from the old 360 hard drive and are now sitting safely on a new hard drive on my Series X, a whole 2 console generations later, better than they were.
Right. And they're even bringing back some first gens.
Yeah, there's a whole catalog of first generation Xbox games and 360 games, and not only are they still playable, but they're better than they were. Microsoft never had to do that. But, as the Game Pass argument goes, that is such a big dick energy move.
Right. That could poof, go away tomorrow.
Sure.
Yeah. Microsoft could literally in 2022 go, we're not seeing the value in doing this. No more backwards compatibility.
Yeah, it's true. They could 100% do that, but
right. And there would be an uproar, but at the end of the day, that's not part of what you agreed to pay for.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like it just goes back to the value proposition thing, which then goes back to the Xbox thing and the Game Pass thing. And, it's like, well, PlayStation for the first time in their history, is letting 90% of the PlayStation 4 games move forward onto PlayStation 5. Nintendo doesn't do any of that stuff.
Well, and not to knock on PlayStation that much, but I think and Xbox is suffering from this as well. I think you kind of had to because you didn't have enough to sell the console on its own.
Well, I don't think it was necessarily that it didn't have enough, but they had lost so much goodwill, much in the same way that the PS3 had lost so much goodwill at the start of its generation and took the entire generation to make that up. It was the same thing for the Xbox One era of consoles. It took the entire generation of them for them to turn that shit around. They made 2 more fucking Xboxes because the first one was so...
Yeah.
Whatever it was. So, I don't know. It's old stuff. A lot of people have talked about it. I think we've beaten gaming to death. Let's spin the ring and move on to something else. Earth. What the fuck is Earth, Nate?
Earth is in another castle. Hold on.
In another castle. I think that's Mario. I think that's the reference you're looking for. But...
Technology. So speaking of technology, how about those consoles?
Yeah, what about them? Can you find them? No.
No. Do you need to anymore? Again, as we just got off the subject, how many PS5 exclusive to PS not PS exclusive, but
Oops.
Sorry.
We're good. What's your question?
How many next gen only games are there currently for the PS5?
To my knowledge, as someone who does not own a PS5 but is an avid video gamer, there is Demon Souls. There is Returnal. There is
That are PS5 only. They don't have a PS4 counterpart. Okay.
That is what I'm saying. I noticed I did not say Spider-Man
Yes.
Miles Morales. It's Demon Souls, Returnal, Ratchet and Clank, Ratchet and Clank, whatever it's called, Rift Apart, I think it's called. That's it, because I am not counting Ghost of Tsushima Director's Cut or Death Stranding Director's Cut.
So basically 3 games.
To my knowledge.
Right. And again, let's play the other side of that. How many Xbox Series games are there that are exclusive?
None, because
None.
Xbox as a platform
Right.
is
So
at this time completely cross-generational.
Right.
Including the forthcoming... Oh, well, no, I take that back. I believe Horizon 5.
Nope,
Which
coming to
comes
PC.
out very well. Okay, well, I'm not counting PC.
But you have to, kind of.
Kind of. As far as cross-generational consoles, it is not going to be available on the prior generation of consoles, except through streaming.
Right.
Which is its own different thing. So yeah, there's not that many.
So yeah, I mean, there's not a compelling reason to do those upgrades.
So I have a different tact to go on compelling reason wise. I know that my controllers are starting to fail on my PS4, which is dumb because I've been saying this for a long time. I cannot fucking believe how many fucking controllers I've gone through on the PlayStation 4. Fuck you, Sony, for not making a solid controller. It's a very comfy controller, don't get me wrong. I have great affinity for the PlayStation 4 controller. Not my favorite. Still prefer Nintendo Switch and Pro Controller, and especially my Series X controller over the PS4 pad any day of the week. But I also spent the majority of this last generation on the PS4 pad and still play routinely with my boys on PlayStation 4. I am also starting to notice, despite the fact that I have like a really good SSD in my PS4 Pro, that it is starting to give me those telltale signs that maybe, just maybe, like 4 of the other friends that I can count on that I game with regularly, whose PS4 Pros also shit the bed on them,
Right.
might be on its last legs.
Right. That SSD might hit its right limit.
No, not the SSD. I think it's fucking everything else.
Oh.
No. Because that's actually, it's 2 SSDs now. Because what happened was, so I had a PS4, and then it had like a really cheapo 500 gigabyte SSD in it. And then I got the PS4 Pro, and then it came with a 1 terabyte drive, but it wasn't an SSD. And then I had that 500 gigabyte in it for a couple of years. And then actually, I think at the start of COVID, because I was playing a lot of games, obviously, like most people were at the start of COVID, I was like, you know what? I'm just going to get a really good SSD. Nobody knew when the PS5 was coming, and I was like, I knew that I should do something for it besides just, cleaning the fans and blowing the dust out. So I got a really good Evo Samsung SSD for it. And that seems to have been very helpful until recently. So it's still working, to be fair, but I know this.
It's shown its age.
Sony products, unfortunately, they eventually, except for maybe the PS1, well, and the PS2 were pretty solid, will fucking die.
Right.
Which is dumb, but so it goes. And I find myself more and more wondering if for no other reason than the fact that I still want to keep playing with my boys, to find a PS5, which is dumb because I have absolutely no reason to buy a PS5 other than the fact that maybe my PS4 Pro is dying. Hard to say.
Well, and I guess that depends on if the games that you're playing are platform exclusive.
So the only game over there that I'm playing that's platform exclusive is Predator Hunting Grounds.
Okay.
So like the other thing about that though is like, so I've tried to play cross-platform games with them, and I found one thing that sticks out every fucking time that I've tried to play cross-platform games with them. I've tried Splitgate and Dead by Daylight, and in the new year, because it's not here yet, I'll try Rainbow Six Siege, which is another one that I play a lot with them. And the one glaring thing that comes out is not like, getting synced up with them and actually playing with them. Like that part so far on the games that I've tested on works fine. The thing that is a glaring, it sucks on every game is the voice chat. Because you have to use in-game voice chat, and everybody's fucking in-game voice chat is dog shit compared to either the internal PlayStation voice chat party system or Xbox party chat system. And I'm like, man, it sucks.
Yeah,
because like
most people we know, especially again in the Destiny community now, with everything being crossplay, Discord is default.
Sure, but the only way that works successfully as a gamer, if you want to hear your game, is if you're on PC. Because if you're on console, you're fucked.
We have people ham-fist it. They'll put a pair of headphones under their headphones.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah, or, phone on speakerphone next to them while they're gaming.
Ugh. I understand. I understand what you mean, but still, that's not optimal.
That's not ideal, yeah. But I mean, PlayStation was supposed to have had this big deal with Discord to, you would hope, to bring it in.
They said nothing was going to come of that until the new year.
Right, which I think that was also because Microsoft was in talks of doing the same thing, and they kind of swooped in and went, no, you can't have this toy. We don't have anything to do with it yet, but no, you can't have it. And it was a good move.
I mean, I guess it's just such a very strange move considering the fact that Discord openly said that they were trying to sell to Microsoft.
Right.
And I don't know, either whatever the deal soured or there's something they didn't like, or maybe nobody knows,
Yeah. It literally felt like a sneak in and steal the toy away from Microsoft.
Yeah, and it's not surprising because PlayStation needs to do that where they can. Because Xbox is making up so much ground so fast everywhere else.
Right.
And it's going to be
and they already have a native on PC interchat app, so.
Yeah. So I don't know. So anyway, that somehow got back more into gaming.
Well, it's tech.
Yeah, it is technically. So yeah, what else you got on tech, Nate?
Well, I see these pretty pictures of your upgrade in the
Oh
Discord.
yes. So my iPhone 13 Pro, period. Not a Max, just the Pro.
Right.
With a whopping, very surprising when I read it, 1.2 terabyte NVMe micro SSD.
Nice.
Was very surprised it was formatted higher. Because everybody knows when it's like, it's a terabyte, it's really like 980 gigabytes or something. But nope, it's a big old boy. It is interesting, especially because I have not had an iPhone upgrade in 4 years.
Right. You were telling me about that.
A long time for me.
You were on a 10.
I was on a 10S.
Yeah.
Or an XS, as I called it. Whatever. Yell at me in the comments.
Yeah. Well, I just had to issue a correction in the Discord as well. That I thought I had a 12. I only have an 11.
Yeah, I remember you saying that. Saying that. So yeah. So it is interesting. So my upgrade process was the most seamless it's ever been. I am very accustomed to getting a new phone, and then none of my phone numbers work, even though they're supposed to activate wirelessly, and then going into AT&T and being like, all right, I need you to make this number in this other phone that I'm holding
the
go to
IMEI?
this phone.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it just did all of that. Like, out of the box. It was like, hey, why don't you put this phone near your old phone? We'll take care of everything. I was like, okay, magical new Apple device. We'll give it a go. I don't have faith this will work because I've seen this dance many times before. But no, it fucking did it. It got all of it. It got both of my my lines, as I've said before. I'm a dual
because you have the
SIMmer.
dual SIM.
Yep, and I didn't have to take a SIM card out, which was also very surprising to me. I assume it did everything with that on eSIMs. Is the only way I could think that it could do that. So yeah, no, it did that. Everything transferred over really well. One thing that did fuck me though, and I didn't really think about it, is the number of things where I have an authenticator app on, and then getting the authenticator app over to the new phone was a son of a bitch.
Yes.
Fuck you, Google Authenticator. Fuck you, Microsoft Authenticator. Fuck you, Steam account Authenticator. Yeah. Fuck you. Did I say Blizzard Authenticator already?
No.
Fuck you all. I love what you do, but you make moving to a new phone a fuck you, bitch.
But that's kind of the point.
Yes, and I get that.
Right.
But still.
I should be able to at least, kind of do, scan QR code type.
Yeah, something like that, at least, yeah. The QR code thing is good. Good job, Discord. You made the transition real seamless. But yeah,
except it doesn't save your login if you QR code scan in.
Oh, it does for me.
Sorry, it won't do it on a PC. If I QR code log into a PC the next time, I have to do it again. If I actually type in my password, it'll save it.
Might be like a PC thing. I've always been fine on the Apple side of things, but whatever. So yeah, so new phone. I was initially alarmed during the setup because A, it went so smooth, and then B, it got hotter than any iPhone I've ever had, ever. And I was like, is this fucker about to explode? And it did that for about a day. And in fairness, I was loading 786 gigs worth of stuff onto the thing.
Right.
From the internet. So I can only assume the reason it got so hot was A, Wi-Fi on full, new ultra fast SSD on full, and all. Wait, how many cores does it have? Six cores? I think it's got all 6 cores, loading all kinds of different apps. It was getting busy.
Right.
Because as I've said before, I've done some extreme gaming on it now, and games that would cripple
Normally cook you. Yeah.
just lukewarm at best. And then the real stress test, because I've said it before, I'm a power user on my phone for work. So I did a test, and I was way up north in the boonies, about 30 miles south of the Canadian border, doing a job on Tuesday.
Oh, you did the weak signal test, huh?
Weak signal test?
Yes, where you go out where there's hardly any service and see how quickly it drains the battery.
Well, I actually had 5G up there, which surprised the shit out of me. So no, I did not have weak signal. But no. So like on my old phone, Pokemon Go, I have a tracker app that geotags stuff that helps me with record keeping. Then I have an hours keeper thing that's synced to the cloud. Obviously text, camera. And then sometimes I have a separate GPS thing. That's this thing called Fog of World, which is like a GPS map, and then there's a Fog of War type thing, and you feel it, and it's the thing I've been doing forever. It's just a personal thing.
Okay.
But obviously those are 3 things that are all using the GPS, and on my old XS, very, very warm. Very, 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 very warm. Cold days, not so bad. Summer overheats the phone.
Right.
So I think we got there to the job. We got up at like 4:30 or something, and we got there at like 9 something. Unplugged the phone for the first time. It was full charge, and I was like, all right. Let's see this legendary battery life that all the YouTubers have been talking about. And hang on, I have a sound effect going off in my phone because I didn't mute the outtakes fade tracks that are playing now on Logic. Okay, we're good. We're still rolling.
Yeah, didn't hear any of them on my end, so.
Yeah, I piped everything through. I set all the things up correctly this time, Nate. I told you this.
Yay.
So started at 9. I think we left at 2. And on a normal day, that probably puts my X's at like 5-10% battery. Pretty easy. And I know because the stats that iOS keeps, that Pokemon Go uses about 23% battery, and other GPS stuff it's closer to 8 and stuff, but it still makes the phone very warm. So I left that day after, let's see 9, so 5 hours of hardcore use. And on my old phone, my phone's basically fucking dead at that point. This phone was rocking an easy breezy 53% battery, and I noticed all of the percentages were markedly lower on the usage. Like Pokemon Go was like fucking 5% battery usage or some fucking absurd thing from what it was. And I was just like, all right, that'll do, pig. That'll do. So yeah, no, battery life so far really genuinely is pretty fucking incredible. The closest I've been able to like really wear the battery down just for my own personal, like, it's a new toy, I'm gonna play with it thing is playing Marvel's Future Revolution, MMORPG I mentioned before, similar to Black Desert,
right?
But it's modern and uses Unreal Engine 4, and you can really crank them fucking settings up. And I can burn through the battery in that in about 5 hours. I noticed last weekend, just fucking around.
That's
with
respectable
it and stuff.
though, considering you're
really
cranking out the processor. You're probably throwing data back and forth on the net like crazy.
Yeah, I mean it's lighter than you would think.
But I mean, you're still doing it. You're going to have your Bluetooth radio is going to be flying because you got your input, going to that. So you got 3 radios that are or 2 radios and a processor that's probably taxed to the max. So 5 hours is extremely respectable. I don't think you can get that out of most gaming laptops.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, certainly not getting it out of the Switch, that's for sure.
Right.
So yeah, no, it's yeah, and it never nothing has since the boot up, which was the initial load of everything, never gotten even toasty. Very, very impressed with the battery life and the I'm gonna have to say, because I know the processor itself actually runs pretty warm, with just the efficiency of it, so therefore there is a lack of heat because it's getting things done faster. Just very, very, very interesting on that point. Second point is the cameras. Still haven't really been outside at night to really check to see how the night stuff works that well, so I still got nothing to report on that. However, as you've seen, the fucking macro lens is a fucking game changer, in my opinion, for my own work, and then also my own fucking curiosity of shit around me. Like, I took some pictures the other day. Actually, I'm just gonna fucking send these to you. So I work with a piece of metal that's called injected bronze, and it's a piece of metal. Are you familiar with it?
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah. So it's a piece of metal that is designed to fracture under intense torque, basically.
Right.
And when you're holding it in your hand, when it's broken, like from the outside it looks like metal, and on the inside it looks like just like
Chalk.
solid dirt, chalk looking stuff. And I've been looking at a lot of things like Ant-Man would as of late. Quite literally. Why the fuck can I not? I've just been talking to you. Why did Nate? Find Nate. There we go. Okay, so picture one is non-macroed.
Which way are you sending this? Text message?
Straight text message.
Okay.
And then picture two is macroed.
Oh.
And picture two, the dirt that looked like dirt looks like gold styrofoam. It's amazing in microscopic
I got picture
stuff.
one.
Okay. Okay. Yes, I sent them individually. So you see that like brown?
Two. Yeah, there we go.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's almost like it's cast, but it's not.
But the point is, like, if you zoom in on that picture, like the fucking detail's fucking stupid.
Yeah.
Like the detail is so fucking stupid.
Like, I'm looking at this. I almost want to make a phone wallpaper out of this.
Oh, it's gorgeous,
right?
Like it's beautiful. Like I would have never guessed that those.
Yeah, the crystalline structures.
Yeah, it's fucking gorgeous. So yeah, so macro lens, utterly kick ass. I'm getting a huge enjoyment out of it. Just taking, like I took another one. Let's see if I can find it. I was stuck on a lift for several hours on this Tuesday, and I saw some like paint, and I zoomed in on it, and it looks like the goddamn moon surface. It's fucking awesome.
Yeah, macro photography can be actually really fun.
Like I'm having a blast. Like I wonder what this thing looks like up close. Because the thing about it is like, I have really good close vision. A lot of people are like pretty envious of that. Like, yeah, I wear glasses and stuff, but like I've always had like really good close vision. Like I could always make out like uber tiny text and not need like a
that went away in my early 40s.
Thanks, Nate. I'll look forward to that.
Yeah, sorry. Well,
yeah,
I'm starting to lose the top end on my hearing too at 46.
Oh no. Well,
that's more environmental than anything else.
Sure. Yeah. Hopefully, I won't have that problem myself, but we'll see. So I'm getting really into macro photography, because even with how good I think my vision is, looking at something up close, and I'm like, oh, I think I know what this will look like if I put the macro lens on it. And then I put the macro lens on it, and I'm just like,
I was wrong.
mind blown. Like, what the fuck is this? This is so cool.
Yeah.
You know? And as I said before I had the phone, I thought it would have been useful for work, and it super fucking is. Oh god, just the fucking clarity of like text that's all fucked up and tiny, or little tiny engravings on parts and stuff. Super useful. Highly recommend. I don't remember which Android phones have some macro lenses. I know there are some.
I don't know about hardware macros though. Most of the ones I've seen, it's all software based.
What, like some AI
Yeah, image
extrapolation
processing
thing
on
and
it.
shit?
Yeah.
Well, either way, the hard macro,
Yeah.
fucking great.
So again, I've got photography in my family, so I'm familiar with these concepts, and it's nice to see them come to a portable device. Because yeah, I've had my Canon DSLR. Heck, I've had my
Mhm.
Canon film, with that macro lens when I used to do product photography.
Oh, nice. Nice,
Um,
yeah.
and yeah, I mean, you can get really in on something and get some real interesting shots on it. But again, every time I looked at on my phone, it was like, oh, put it in macro mode, and it's like, okay, you just zoomed from 1 to 2
Yeah, no, it's
and
super
applied
cool.
some AI to it, but I still can't, like, the depth of field. Like, I can't get my phone close enough to something like to read a serial number,
Yeah,
that you can with an actual physical, piece of hardware.
sure. The
So
thing that throws me off about it is because I am used to putting my camera really, really, really close to an object and knowing when to stop. When I'm in macro, like, I legitimately do not know when to stop. Like,
right.
I'm like, am I? I can still go in more. I can still
I'm,
go in more. I can
I'm
still go
touching
in
it. Yeah.
more. Like, what the fuck? Like, it's crazy.
Yeah.
So yeah, macro lens, man, on the iPhone Pro line, really fucking something else. I don't shoot video, so I haven't checked out the cinematic thing. I might if the opportunity presents itself. So I got nothing to report on that. I will report, however, that the fucking speakers on this thing are so goddamn loud and so goddamn clear. I'm just like, fuck. Like, I've legitimately stopped bringing my little Bluetooth thing into the shop with me, when I'm working on something in the shop, because the fucking speakers are so loud and crisp. And looking back in my memory, I do remember the same thing being true of the XS. So it's possible it could just be, it's new.
Yeah.
And enjoy this crispness while it lasts,
Yeah.
so to
Until
speak.
the little pinholes get clogged up with dust, dirt, sweat, moisture, and they get muffled. My
Yeah.
my issue with phone speakers, like I've had them where they're loud enough, like HTC, they excelled at cell phone speakers.
Okay, sure. I remember.
Yeah, they had the Beats phone for a hot minute, but even prior to that, like they did a really good job at that. And while it sounded good, getting bass out of them was always, it just can't do it. So
Yeah.
that's why I've
Um,
always just done Bluetooth speaker at this point, and I don't even care what the phone speaker sounds like.
mm, Fair enough. I mean, I care with the earpiece speaker. When you're holding your
Yes.
phone up talking to someone. And so far, so good in that area. It's been quite. I can't say quite crystal. I don't know
Yes.
why I struggled on that one, but I did. So yeah, so that's good. The only other thing I heard on technology, and I heard it right actually before we recorded, when I took a little bio break before we got on, was apparently folks have won a class action lawsuit against Canon on their scanners, where they were sending software, Canon was, that
Hmm.
was disabling the scanner if you didn't have ink in it, in their scanner printers.
Okay.
and they got caught red-handed that they were actually doing that and fucking over the consumer.
Yeah, because you could have an all-in-one printer, scanner, fax, whatever, and not have it hooked up to a phone line, and it still works as a printer, scanner. Like, why
Mm-hmm.
wouldn't a scanner scan
Yeah.
PC?
So anyway, Canon's, I'm sure, fixing that and probably
Yeah.
being forced to do patch updates to whatever the hell is affected by that. Long story short, don't buy a Canon printer / scanner.
I haven't bought Canon printers in forever. I swore off Canon and Brother because I've had nothing but issues with their drivers.
Oh.
Yeah. At
So
this point,
the Industrial Brothers, which is what we use for work, we swear by.
Sure.
They are great. No
Oh,
issues.
the hardware is fine. Like Brothers hardware, I don't have an issue with. Same thing with Kyocera. Kyocera makes a pretty rock solid printer. The problem was their drivers were just.
I think this is one of those things where actually being on a Mac is better because I have heard.
That is probably
I remember
true.
I was watching a Windows 11 review, and they were just like, it fucked all my printer drivers.
Yep.
Like none of my printers work. This is dumb.
And if it wasn't an HP or an Epson, didn't work.
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough. Fair enough.
Yeah, and I guess there's that too. Windows 11 is out.
Yeah, I mean, did you get it?
I have the I did the beta. I don't like it. My little laptop, my Surface Book will not upgrade to 11. My PC will. And I don't know. I got used to the Windows 10 tiles.
I mean,
are exceptionally useful.
Let me put it this way to you. Is there a reason to upgrade to Windows 11?
Well, of course, like anything else, there's going to be that eventual planned obsolescence where things just won't run quite as nice unless you're on the Windows 11, right?
Sure.
But
I imagine that's at least a couple years off, 4 years off or so.
Normal obsolescence, yes.
Maybe. So, yeah.
Yeah, we'll see how that works. Obviously, that would be. And my brother-in-law and I had this discussion recently as well because works in cybersecurity. So having a mixed house on some of the clients poses big issues if Microsoft decides that they're not going to patch 10 anymore. And I looked at him, I said, I'm pretty sure 10 is going to stick around for a long time because of the TPM requirements for Windows 11.
Sure. Yeah, that's
a lot of those old business, a lot of those business workstations, they're either not TPM 2.0 compliant or not the right TPM 2.0 compliant.
Yeah.
And you can't force an entire company to just upgrade their entire hardware.
What does TPM stand for?
Threat protection management? Threat?
Okay.
I don't know.
Now, is it a firmware thing or is it like an actual security chip? Because we are in the age where stuff does have security chips nowadays.
Yeah, it's both. It can be, it can be done software emulated, or it can be an actual hardware.
Okay.
Right. Oh, sorry, trusted platform module. That's what it is. I always forget.
Oh, okay, gotcha. So I would guess, for my purposes, as a person who just recently, got this gaming PC here.
Yeah, you're very likely to already be ready to go.
Right, but also there should be no need to, since all the games are already running great on Windows 10.
Correct.
So until a game needs me to move to Windows 11.
Yes.
Right? Yeah. And I can't see there being.
And right now there are issues with optimization as well.
Which is silly.
Yeah, especially right. I guess a lot of people are reporting that if you're on a AMD graphics card,
which
you're taking severe hits to frame rate after upgrading to Windows 11.
Okay.
And it's not a CPU thing, it's a GPU thing because AMD processor NVIDIA GPUs are they're not noticing that much of a hit.
Interesting.
So
Very
it's good. Yeah, it's
interesting.
probably going to be a good 3 months before all those little kinks get worked out. Printer drivers, right? You know, all the obscure shit.
Sure.
The big boys will have their stuff updated really, really quick. You know, AMD and NVIDIA will have drivers out probably within 2 weeks, where it's
Sure.
back to normal. But yeah, like, you know, your one-off brother all-in-one printer scanner
Yeah.
copier. It may
from
not see a
5 years
driver
ago.
update for 6 months, if at all.
Yeah, fair enough.
But yeah, with it being dependent on a piece of hardware, or at least emulated hardware, I can't see Microsoft, you know, forcing everyone to just completely upend, you know, and stop supporting 10. So I think 10 is going to be around for a long time, and I am going to hold on to it as long as possible, because again, it's just I've gotten so used to the interfaces over the years.
Well, 10's the new 7, right?
10's the new 8.
Well, I thought people hated 8 though.
People hated 8 because it got rid of the start menu.
That's it.
That was it. Because
It was
because
fine.
they put the tiles and it gave it more of a tablet interface. Then 8.1 came out that kind of brought the desktop functionality back, and then everyone went, well, this is kind of what we like. And then so they ditched everything and put it all into 10. And now the tiles are part of your start menu. And it's good and clean. If you don't want to use the tiles, you just don't use them. You close them all off, and you have like the old Windows 95, 98 start menu.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, fair enough.
So
I think the only thing that attracts me to 11 is the fact that it literally looks more like a Mac than ever before.
right. Well, a lot of people are actually comparing it to Chrome OS.
Oh, and I wouldn't touch Chrome OS with a 10-foot pole, so
Right.
I don't know what that looks like.
You're like, oh, the start menu's in the middle, and that's more like Chrome OS. Whereas I guess you're used to the dock down there.
Yeah, I mean it can be in any location on the screen, but the default is the bottom, and that is where it's been for 20 some odd years. So, unlike my father, who's a weird fucking person, puts it on the left side of the fucking screen like a fucking savage.
Hey, I have my start menu at the top of my screen because of my history with Macs.
Oh, okay. Well,
So yeah, people, they go, where's your start menu? It's like up there in the upper left. And they go, why is it up there? I use Mac. But yeah, like what I really hated about it was what they took away, and then it, like, everything is just kind of, and I get the business behind it, but it's like it's forcing you into, oh, you want to chat with someone? Here's Teams. What about the app that I have? No, Teams is right here. No, but I have I have Discord for that. Yes, but Teams.
Yeah, speaking of a bad Microsoft change I don't like. So I had a Skype update before we did today's show. The call button is gone. The call button is now a webcam icon. And then when you click it, it then asks you with a toggle screen whether you want the webcam on or the microphone on. Oh,
Right.
what the fuck?
No. Yeah, that should should be default. Video should be optional. Like now, I haven't updated, so I have the call going, and then a video camera icon that I can accidentally click at any time and break the recording.
Well, and not only that, like so it's like a little camera icon where it's like square with the little like concave thing to like the right, but then it's got like sound waves coming from the top and the bottom, like it's a fucking speaker or like a symbol that somebody forgot to make.
So it's a radioactive camera.
Yes. For radioactive camera, that's a good one. That could also be the title of the show. I don't know. We'll see what it is.
A radioactive camera is not a vault if it's a trash can.
All right, well, that's too good. I'm just gonna fucking notepad that right now because I'm not gonna remember. A radioactive camera is
Not a
what'd you say?
vault if it's a trash can.
A vault if it's a trash can. That's awesome if that title wasn't crazy fucking long. Oh god, that's fucking terrible.
Yeah, and I guess the last tech we have is kind of came out of gaming, but yeah, I guess the new Apple TV. You said I was prophetic or something?
Oh, so this was a strange boy. So, buried in this article from Mac Rumors, which is very reliable, who cited one of their reliable leakers who accurately predicted that this year's Apple Watch would basically look identical and just have a spec bump on the inside, which is true, is now reporting that Apple is looking to source a plexiglass supplier. Very peculiar thing that Apple hasn't touched since the 90s.
Right.
Specifically for the top cover of a high-end gaming-focused Apple TV. And in that same article, they also cite a Switch-like hybrid portable with detachable controllers.
Right.
Which
they will claim is new and innovative that they came up with, right?
I mean, I assume so. Like, I'm not going to bullshit you and tell you that, like, if that happens, like, yeah. But I mean,
ours slide down,
the
which
difference
makes them
is they'll
different.
probably do it with magnets and therefore avoid any lawsuits. And it won't be like the Razer Kinshi, and it can't be like the Steam Deck because the controls are attached and it's technically a micro PC.
But we rounded the corners.
But it's funny because we did all this talk about Apple not taking gaming seriously. And this rumor comes from a very reliable source, leaker. And, you talked about either last episode or an episode before that, could you imagine if Apple made a Switch or put that hardware in a Switch? And then I said, well, I don't have to imagine. I have an iPhone, which is already more powerful than a Switch, and then playing, again, Genshin Impact at max settings, which to my eye looks just as good as the fucking the high-end PS5 or PC version of Genshin Impact. This fucker is running at 120 frames and loads in half a second and all this shit. It's really not hard to imagine, given the power in the palm of my hand right now, that they can make the beefiest fucking portable handheld that's also extremely thin.
Right. And has the battery life to last that subway trip.
Oh, yeah. Well, that is the other thing, too. Yeah, given the battery life of the 13, goddamn, son.
So,
yeah.
I'm just going to go out on a limb. I'm assuming that the sourcing of a plexiglass top has to do with wireless radios.
Well, so my thought on this
and keeping it pretty, of course.
So the current Apple TVs for the last 4 generations have just been black plastic. Nothing fancy, blends right into the cabinet, never know that it's there, which is fine. And they're really tiny. They're I don't know, 1.5 by
the Apple TV?
Yeah, they're really tiny.
Yeah, they're probably a little bit bigger than a deck of cards.
Yeah, maybe 2 decks of cards.
Yeah.
At least the 4K one, because there's a fan in it.
Yeah. Well, those the old jumbo ones, I don't know if you ever played with the jumbo deck of cards.
I've wanted to, and I've actually seen some magic recently with that. So I was like, yeah. But no, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
But yeah, no. So the reason I say plexiglass, and that's interesting. So the original Mac Mini had a design where it was like a rounded box of aluminum, and then the top was the old school 2005 Apple translucent white plastic stuff. So the original Mac Mini had that, and then actually the very first Apple TV was designed that way too. Probably because they were basically the same fucking thing. Uh, so it's interesting that they would go back to that design. And the only reason I could think that would be, I don't think it would be thermals. I would guess wireless, but then, if they do go back to that design, why would they wrap it in aluminum if the Apple TV is already plastic? Like, doesn't really make any,
Yeah.
and as
Well,
consumers,
I
like,
guess if you can, if it might be thermals, but not to, if you can keep the thermals in and you're not dissipating through the plastic top, you can control the path a lot easier.
maybe, I don't know. It was
Maybe.
just a weird thing because Apple hasn't done anything with plexiglass in a long time.
Yeah. Either that or the thing gets hot,
I mean, it could be, but then if that's the case, why wouldn't it be more like the Apple TV 4K, which is the same as the new Apple TV 4K that came out this year, because it's literally identical in every way except for the fact that it's got the same chip as the iPhone XS, where it's got a little mini fan in it. Like that.
Fans make noise. If you can get away with no fan, would you do it?
I mean, Apple does it all the time in their iPhones. Right. But if you're looking for a sustained performance, the Mac Mini over here, despite running extremely cool, it's got a little fan in it.
Yeah, I just again, if you're given the option to keep the performance and the thermals right and not have a noisy fan, would you do it? You probably would.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. We'll definitely see what becomes of that if Apple really does, say, hey, we have Apple Arcade and we have an honest to God game console.
Right.
And or depending on how the rumored report goes, it's a Switch hybrid looking thing. We'll see. And then I think around that same time, I went on a bit of a rampage and sent a bunch of shit in the Discord showing you all the console
game titles,
console grade games on Apple devices, and that was just the stuff that's on my device, So, but anyway, yeah, that's a thing. Interesting rumor to throw around there. It's been rumored before, but again, going back to the fact that Apple makes like $80 billion a year on gaming, and it's their most profitable division. It would be interesting to see them officially come in, especially because we're hearing some pretty wild rumors because there's another Apple event coming next Tuesday.
Oh boy.
And they have a very interesting graphic for it. It's basically the hyperdrive stars swooping thing from Star Wars, but it's the Apple logo. And they've titled the event Unleashed. And we're hearing some pretty crazy shit about, because this is supposed to be the Mac event. And since last
hence
year,
you commenting on that one person who, do I upgrade to a 13-inch, 16-inch? And you're like, wait a minute.
I was like, hold up till Tuesday.
Yeah.
Because we're hearing rumors that not only are they going to have the next generation, whatever they're going to call it, M1, M2, M1X chip in them, which is to be expected, but that they're also going to have, which is an Apple thing, afterburner cards, which is it's a custom bespoke programmable card that's in their Pro computer that's specifically for video encode and decoding and like special effects, and it's like purpose built specifically for that. But not only are they going to have afterburner cards, but they're also going to have integrated and dedicated graphics, and the dedicated graphics is going to be twice the power of a Series X with ray tracing. And I'm like, Now, to be fair, those particular rumors that I just cited do not have the leaker who's 99% of the time right as backing. This is stuff that is in the general speculation sphere based on what other people are saying. So, we'll see Tuesday. It's not a stretch to say that whatever they, I mean, the event's literally called Unleashed, and they got like a fucking hyperdrive logo on it. That whatever chip they have will be a fucking beast, because one could imagine that they'll have something juicy for that, especially since not all of the Macs have transitioned over to their own silicone yet.
Right.
So, we'll see.
Yeah, I'm seeing here new AirPods, new OS.
Well, the new OS, was announced last June, and it hasn't had a release date. And so, like I said, I would imagine the team's been busy on iOS since the 15 release, and then the 15.01 release was a little buggy. Less buggy 15.02, but we'll see. And Jesus Christ, my lower whatever that is, it's like below the stomach, the thing that's making the gurgling noise. I apologize. Folks, get this ASMR shit in here. Yeah, basically.
You need to go get a candy bar? Yeah, I think you do. Candy bar.
It's just going to town. I don't know what's going on with that. It's like a little dog. It's something. All right, well, let's bamf through these last two topics and wrap it up, since we're already getting
2:36. Yeah,
scary close to another 4-hour fucking show.
we're 2 hours 36, not including the off-air stuff. Or including the off-air stuff.
My recording's at 3 hours and 36 minutes, so I don't know what you're looking at.
I haven't stopped my recording.
Okay, well, to each his own. All right, where the fuck is this thing?
Yeah, it's only 12 o'clock. Started at 9:30.
Water. What's water? Is that entertainment? Maybe. Possibly. Is fire life?
Fire is life.
Fire's life. Okay, so water's entertainment.
Yep.
Sweet.
It's the one that doesn't fit on the damn dashboard here for Discord. It runs off the end.
Like most of my things on Discord.
Yep.
Well, have you been watching or being entertained by anything, Nate?
Just the usual suspects. I signed up for my my 3 free months of Apple TV, so I will be checking out what's it?
Ted Lasso?
No, not Ted Lasso. I mean, I do want to see Ted Lasso, but
Foundation,
yes.
Okay, you should also check out C too if you like sci-fi.
Yeah,
it's very good.
Yeah, It's
very.
I've heard good things about it. I just don't know that I want to. I don't want to overinvest and then end up having to pay for another streaming service if I don't have to.
I mean, fair enough. I understand. But if you overinvest in Foundation and Ted Lasso,
right, that might do it just on its own.
Yeah. I was walking through Target the other day, and like the stock girls there were like talking about how fucking great Ted Lasso was. And I was like, that's pretty incredible. Yeah, so Jessica had me start the Netflix show You. Have you heard of this show?
I have not heard of the show.
Okay, so it's a curious show in that it's about a dude in New York who owns a bookstore, and he's looking for love, but he's also a psychopathic stalker killer.
Okay.
So he like targets like a girl, and then anyone in her life or other ways he like engineers, like either by offing people or creating events so that it produces love between the girl and
And
him.
it's not a new show. I'm seeing it's got 3
No,
seasons
its
in.
third
Yeah.
season just came out Friday. Interestingly, it actually started out as a Lifetime TV show, which is a word that sounds dirty when you say it. But having seen the first season, I just started season 2 this evening with Jessica. Does not have the quality of Lifetime. It's very good, very high quality, well
That's probably why it
acted.
couldn't survive over there.
Well, so what happened was it was Lifetime, and then Netflix acquired a streaming right for it. Just like they didn't own it, but then it blew up on Netflix, and then Netflix was like, "Here's a fucking boatload of cash," and Lifetime was like, "We've never seen that much money. Here you go."
Right. Take it.
So yeah, it's based off of a book series. It's vaguely like Dexter-ish.
From the screenshots I'm seeing, it kind of has that feel to it, but sure.
Yeah, it's got really good cinematography, but the reason I say it's dexterous is because, he does kill people. And he has narration. So it's, you're always hearing what's inside his head, what he's thinking, sort of thing. The difference is he's legitimately not a good dude.
Sure.
He doesn't kill people because they're bad killers or anything. He kills people because they're in his fucking way.
Right. More of a Lucifer than a Dexter.
I mean, I wouldn't make that comparison of Lucifer, because Lucifer, if we're talking about the TV show, he doesn't actually kill anybody other than some of his own brothers. So not really a good comparison.
Okay.
But
shame
more
on
like
me.
more like I'm trying to think of another killer show. More like a Hannibal Lecter, but without the eating people part.
Fair. Okay.
And the severe body count and being good at, he's not good at killing, by the way. So that's the other thing. He kills because his obsession with whichever girl he's infatuated with gets the better of him. Yeah, it's interesting. It's really weird. So I watched the first episode and I was just like, that was one of the best fucking pilots I've seen in a long time. This show's fucking legit. I love it. And then I watched the next 4 and I was like, those were kind of mediocre episodes. Does this get better? Then it got better. And I was like, okay. And then I finished the season and I was like, all right, that was a pretty fucking solid season. And now I started season 2. Because now I'm watching it to catch up because she wants to see season 3 with me since it just came out. Wife wants to watch it with you kind of situation.
Right.
But it's pretty fucking good. I'm not gonna lie. I'm enjoying myself. The score for it is fantastic. Blake Neely, who I think has done every goddamn show on the CW network, but is really good at it, also did the score for this show. And it's wonderfully creepy.
And the cast looks like it's
cast is good.
fairly new names.
Fairly new names.
I see Scott Speedman had a small part in it.
Don't know who that is, and maybe he hasn't shown up yet. Yeah, I don't know that one. Should I?
It looks like they might be this season.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know who the actor is off the top of my head, so I don't know.
It was the werewolf vampire hybrid in Underworld.
Yeah, see, I hate the Underworld films. This has been well documented because people are like, "Oh, Tim probably loves Underworld." No, I actually hate Underworld with a passion, which is surprising because I generally, I've seen a lot of vampires and werewolves shit and whatnot.
Right.
And
then of course John Stamos was in it as well. This one.
Yes. Yeah, he's in the first season, which I was super surprised by. I was just do, and then all of a sudden John Stamos, and I was like, what the fuck? And I was like, okay.
Other than that, I'm not really seeing a whole lot of known names, which that could be good. That's
The acting is stellar. I
Yeah.
have no problems. It's wonderfully directed. It's wonderfully acted. Scripts vary from episode to episode, at least the first season. Jessica tells me the quality improves markedly, but then also the first season was like it actually came out on the Lifetime network,
Right.
and then season 2 it was fully acquired by Netflix. So I don't know, we'll see. We shall see. But yeah, no, I'm enjoying it. Me and the wife had a little horror movies we haven't or each other hasn't seen one-off recently. So, and you're probably gonna point and laugh. It's fine, audience. It's fine. Give me all of the shit for it. I know. I've stated in the past I'm a horror fan and I've not seen it, but I've seen it now. Everybody shut up. So the wife had me watch the original Halloween because I had not seen it,
Okay.
which is surprising, as I generally like John Carpenter. So I watched that last night, and then this morning, I had the wife watch the original The Evil Dead, which she actually thoroughly enjoyed.
Yeah. I actually like the original Evil Dead better than the remake.
Well, and it's funny. So I never saw those movies originally, but my cinematography buddy is huge fans of the Evil Dead, and so
Mhm.
he took me to the reboot Evil Dead, and that was my first exposure to Evil Dead, and I was like, oh, that's pretty good. And then he was like, all right, now you should see the originals. And whenever the hell that Evil Dead reboot came out, they were available on streaming somewhere, so I watched all 3 of them pretty much back to back, and I was like, okay, pretty cool. It's interesting because I think I liked this watch of the original Evil Dead more than the first time I saw it, because it's definitely pretty old, definitely.
Yeah. Well, I used to like horror. I don't
Mm-hmm.
like it anymore because now it's just gore and jump scare,
Mm-hmm.
and that doesn't entertain me. I like the campy horror, right?
Sure.
Which I loved about the original Halloween. I loved about the original Evil Dead, Creep Show. The classics.
Mm.
The they messed with your head without just being okay. Walking down a dark hallway, sudden flash of scary face, drag you off into the dark, blood
Mm.
everywhere, right?
Yeah, I mean,
Like, yeah, Freddy was bloody in a funny way. Like, he
mm.
pulled you into a mattress, and your entire mattress became an upside down waterfall of blood. Right?
Well, I was having, we just watched The Evil Dead this morning, and there's a pipe for no reason that's like spewing blood, and he pulls it down, and it like goes into his
Uh-huh.
mouth, and it's just like fucking fills the basement full of blood.
Mhm.
It was ridiculous. Which is interesting, because I know, what she doesn't, which is that, Evil Dead 2 and 3 go hog wild into the camp
Mhm.
department in the best ways possible.
Yeah.
Um,
Nightmare on Elm Street, same thing. First one was kind of somewhat serious, and then just went full on camp.
can crash
Yeah.
noise. 2 points for Gryffindor. Okay.
And even Halloween got campy towards the end there as well. It's like,
Yeah, he died like 6 times, but then didn't. And I was
yeah,
like, all right.
hey, you can't keep
Sure.
Shatner down.
Yeah, she told me that bit of lore, and I was like, that's a tricky. I don't know how I feel about this. Which is weird that I'd never heard
Entirely
that
true, right?
as
Yeah.
Trekkie lore goes, so to speak. Yeah. Speaking of Trekkie, we wrapped up the 2nd season of Star Trek Lower Decks,
Mhm.
which it's wait,
Cartoon series.
is the right word sophomore if it's your second run?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, so their sophomore season was 100% awesome through and through. Their first season was definitely, they didn't quite nail their formula right away. Since obviously, are you aware what it
Yes.
is?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. It's Star Trek, but it's animated about the literal shittiest, worst crew in the fleet.
Right.
um, yeah, but it's interesting because season 1 felt like it was trying to figure out whether it was a genuine Star Trek show or if it was like a Rick and Morty episode.
And I think you kind of have to go through that and see what the reaction is. Sure, yeah, you can test panel, and test panel is, they'll get you greenlit,
Sure.
but you won't really know how, especially when you're dealing with Star Trek. That is the fan base on that can be so divisive about how you handle it.
Sure. Well, and then season 2, they've nailed their voice, and what season 2 ultimately is it's very much a Star Trek show.
Mm-hmm.
And generally there's happy endings and you feel kind of warm about the episode, and people learn lessons and shit. But then it's also it's kind of funny to say this. Season 2 ends up being more like the Orville than season 1 did, but in the best possible way.
Yeah. And that's a great example of something that, obviously McFarlane took incredible creative license in the creation of the Orville, but he did so respectfully enough that you look and you go, yeah, that's a cheap ripoff, but I like how you're doing it.
Sure. Well, and it's not even a cheap ripoff either. It's one of the more expensive shows.
Well,
But yeah, but I'm a McFarlane fan, and most people know that McFarlane is just the biggest fucking Star Wars nerd. Or fuck me, not Star Wars.
Star Trek.
Edit that out, Tim. That sounds terrible. As a Trekkie, you need to fucking kill yourself. Fucking garbage. It's late. That's my excuse.
Okay.
Seth MacFarlane is the biggest Trekkie out there, because he's got himself snuck into like the background of like 3 of the TV shows because he's such a huge fan. So yeah, he's definitely very respectful when it comes to the Orville.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's see. So we finished that up. We finished season 2 of Ted. Which
Ted Lasso, yes, not the movie.
Yeah, sure, correct. Since we were just talking about Seth MacFarlane, good call, good call, good call. Yeah, there's a Ted teddy bear movie or TV series that nobody knew about. Yeah, there you go. Finished season 2 of Ted. It was fucking fantastic. We did not watch Foundation this week, so come tomorrow we'll be 2 Foundations behind. So I don't have anything to report on that. Last time I watched it, pretty much the same thing as the last podcast, because I remember editing this part. It's really good. It looks sexy as fuck. The acting is great. No fucking clue. No idea what's going on. I maybe starting to get a couple of like, maybe this is what it could be. Tim is guessing from his deep history of sci-fi things and tropes and stuff that it could be, but I still have no fucking clue.
Right. You know about as much about this as you do about the new Batman trailer.
I mean, I know infinitely more about the Batman trailer because I'm a Batman fan. But now that you mention it, there's a new trailer for The Batman starring sparkly Robert Pattinson as the titular hero. Did I say that right? Titular?
Titular, yes.
Titular? That's a fucking weird word, and it sucks saying it out loud on a podcast.
Say that in any middle school classroom and you'll get giggles.
Oh, I bet. So yeah, I checked out the trailer. Did you happen to see it today?
I did not.
Oh, okay. Did you see the previous one?
I did not.
Okay, so you have
I'm
do
watching
you like
the trailer
Batman?
now.
Okay, guess I need to vamp for 2 minutes. Is that what I need to do while you watch the trailer?
Well, I guess, yeah, the audio isn't coming through, right?
You know,
Okay,
the
so
audio
there's
is
a
not
cup of
coming
tea.
through. Yeah.
Or no, it's a cup of coffee with a question mark. Okay, so Riddler's going to be the bad guy?
Yep. One
Okay.
of many. Yeah, keep going. Your
When that
commentaries.
light hits the sky,
Okay.
it's not just a call. Yeah, I heard this one. It's a warning.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, he doesn't look bad as Batman?
Yeah, right? Isn't that weird to say?
Like he's got the chiseled jaw, but
Yeah.
no. He doesn't look like a good Bruce Wayne.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. I mean, that always kind of that always kind of is the catch-22 with superhero movies, particularly the most important superhero movies like Spider-Man and Batman and Superman, because the Marvel Cinematic Universe doesn't really have heroes that have masks.
Right.
Necessarily. And those big ones, they all do, even though Clark Kent is fucking stupid because it's a pair of glasses, but, we're going to overlook that for
the
last
Batmobile
100.
the Dodge Challenger?
No, it's supposed to be some custom thing, but I see the resemblance, yes. So, that's going to be the thing, is this going to be a situation where it's like Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man, where a lot of people thought that he was a good Spider-Man, but not a good Peter Parker. Or from my personal opinion, despite the fact that I do actually love the Sam Raimi Spider-Man trilogy, I did not think Tobey was a good Peter Parker. No, I thought he was a good Peter Parker, not a great Spider-Man.
Sure.
Whereas Tom Holland, I believe, at least
embodies
gets both of them.
Yeah.
And gets that pretty accurate. Or it's the same thing of like a lot of people disagree with me. Most of the internet in the world disagrees that Ben Affleck was they say that he was not a good Batman. And I actually disagree. Like, I thought that he was actually
wasn't bad.
I thought he was a really good Batman. And other than the fact that he couldn't figure out who Superman's identity was, I thought he was a good Bruce Wayne as well. And a particular that older Bruce Wayne.
That's not the character per se as the writing, right? Not the actor, I should say.
Which part? Him being angry
about not being able to
Superman?
figure out who Superman is.
That's
the writer. That's not
100% the writer,
right?
Sure, yeah, that had nothing to do with the acting. Like, I enjoyed his darker take on Batman because it was also similar to. No, I was going to say The Dark Knight Returns, which is of course the famous comic book that a lot of that stuff was based off of, where he does fight Superman, and he's basically just he's at the end of his Batman career, and he's just like, fuck everybody.
Right.
Like, basically is the gist of that story.
Ready to hand this cape over to someone else.
And like, when it comes to Keaton, like, I didn't think I thought Keaton was a better Batman than he was Bruce Wayne. And I know some people disagree on that.
He didn't have the stature, really, for either role.
I mean,
but he acted the hell out of it.
I agree.
Like, he definitely captured the troubled side of Bruce Wayne, and I think that's what a lot of the current Batmen fail to do. They can do the Playboy pretty well.
Sure, and the Playboy, everybody knows the Playboy thing is just an act of Bruce Wayne, and then and then we go back to the Christian Bale Batman, and it's like it kind of depended on the scene and the movie on whether he
Hmm.
got it, in my opinion. Like I think Batman Begins, like the first one, was probably where he got both of them the best. And then, when we got to the Dark Knight, they started diverging more, and he did more of a gravelly voice and whatever the fuck he was
Right.
doing and all that sort of stuff. You know. So yeah, so it's gonna be interesting to see. This particular take. They're trying to do a movie version of Batman Year One is kind of what they're attempting to do, which was the like if you put this in a perspective of the Batman Begins trilogy, like this
Hmm.
would be the movie between Begins and the Dark Knight. He's figuring his shit out as Batman, and he's very angry about it, and he's trying
Okay.
to like do all of that shit. And then in the trailer we're gonna get Riddler, which I'm very excited about.
It looks like
Uh,
saw Penguin in there as well.
yep, Penguin in fat suit from that's oh fuck, that's Colin Farrell.
Hmm.
Or no, not Colin Farrell. Is it Colin Farrell? Yes, Colin Farrell, the Irish guy.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. I actually like what they're doing with Catwoman. I was very on the fence until I saw this trailer. So
Oh,
I think,
Zoe Kravitz.
yeah, I think she's
Yeah.
gonna be. I think she's gonna be a good Catwoman. Um, I like where that was going, and it looks like they're doing There's a comic book version of the Riddler where he's like a criminal mastermind rather than
Hmm.
you know not the cartoon version and not the Jim Carrey version of the
Right.
Riddler. And it's interesting because I believe that's actor Paul Dano, who's always historically looked like a very young teenager person, because that's just, genetics or whatever. But I've seen several dramatic films where he plays like a psychopath. So I'm like, ooh, that's going to be good. That's going to be good for the Riddler. So it's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting.
Oh, I remember
Um,
him from what was it? Girl Next Door.
I don't know if he was in that movie. I've seen that movie many times. I don't remember him being in that movie. I remember him being in. There was like a murder mystery thriller. It was like Taking Lives, Taking Bones, something. It had Angelina Jolie in it. She was like hunting him down. He was like a dude who would like take the skin off
The
of
Bone
people's
Collector.
faces. Yeah, maybe. I don't know,
Okay.
something like
Yeah, he
that.
was. He was Klitz in The Girl Next Door.
Okay, well there you go.
I
Yeah,
thought he looked familiar.
yeah. He's had a smattering of roles. Um, so yeah, so I think that's going to be interesting. The Batmobile is obviously a very, I don't know, it's a divisive take because it's like, well, on the one hand, it's like, okay, yeah, sure, probably his first thing
It's a
probably
car.
would be a muscly car. Um, Obviously, I feel like that's trying to cater to going back even further, to the non-dramatic take on Batman, to the Adam West era,
Right.
you know. Um, yeah, kind of interesting, I guess. But speaking of Michael Keaton Batman,
Hmm.
so there's a not quite a trailer of the new Flash film,
Mm-hmm.
uh, that literally has Michael Keaton in it, and everyone should go see it to get giddy, because that's fucking wild to hear Michael Keaton as Batman. And then they also hint at his Batmobile. That's cool. It's cool shit. People should check it out.
Nice.
Another thing that was also not a trailer, um, they had actually the opening scene of Dwayne the Rock Johnson's Black Adam for DC. Um, and I gotta say that looks fucking great. Like it looks super fucking great and dark, and his costume is fucking on point. And he's going to be a delicious anti-hero. Yeah, that movie's shaping up good. I didn't see whatever the Aquaman thing was that came out today.
I did.
But I'm looking forward to it since
I did a lot of sleeping.
Well, I know your schedule's not human. So yeah, so that's what's going on in the media stuff and the stuffs that I watched recently. Do we have any life stories? Anything worth telling?
Other than I don't sleep anymore, and I've had a sick kiddo. That was kind of why I was running late today. Was
Oh no, that sucks.
yeah, my youngest caught a little bit of and not a COVID flu, but obviously anytime she comes home sick, sniffling, and coughing, we're going to be especially cautious of that.
Sure.
But yeah, so I think Monday I had a normal work day, which as normal can be. Then Tuesday, got home from work Wednesday morning, ended up having to stay awake because my daughter stayed home from school or from daycare. And then, yeah, so the wife had to relieve me. I ended up getting like 4 hours of sleep, then going back to work, coming home to my daughter staying home again. And that's been basically, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. So, yeah, this morning was actually last night this morning when I got off work. Yeah, I can't even keep track of days anymore. The girls had stayed with both my kids, and my wife stayed over at her sister-in-law's and had a sleepover. So I came home to an empty, quiet house and was told to sleep. So I did so.
Yeah. Well, you should do that, man.
Yeah.
I myself have been sleeping dog shit again this week. Don't know why. Fucking terrible.
Is it because I know we're going through like wacky weird temperature?
I mean, we definitely had really rapid weather change here, which usually happens this time of year in Washington. Like today it was hot, which was dumb.
Same here.
Because we've been running the heater this last week because it's been cold. And it's been raining a shitload, but the rain isn't like ice rain. We're not quite at that time of year yet. So I don't know. The only thing I can point to that has been legitimately disrupting the sleep cycle is Metroid DREAD.
Fair.
Cause like I'll at least before I beat it, I'll be like, all right, I'm done playing this in the bridge. All right, the wife wants me to come to bed. Okay, I'm not ready to sleep. Let me just
and the Switch can come with you.
Yeah, and as has maybe been said before on the show, I've got like a little Dr. Octopus claw on my bed, so I don't even hold the Switch up. Like I detach the Joy-Cons and I sit very comfortably in bed and push the screen up, because it's small. So it just, it's designed to like hold like an iPad or something, reading in bed or whatever. And then I just, put it where it's comfortable. And then, I've got that is really genuinely one of the great things about the Switch is the fact that the controller does split in two, because that makes it real comfortable to sit in bed with your hands in whichever fucking position you want.
Right.
That's comfy. Except, I've had the Switch since it came out, and I've definitely fallen asleep many times playing Switch in bed. But I think the exception is Metroid DREAD is so fucking good that it was like, ooh, one more thing.
Yeah.
Fuck,
one more
it's 4 a.m.
God damn it. Yeah.
That's basically been definitely a problem.
It's kind of when you're hooked to it, because if you're playing that one more save point game. Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely that thing, Well, And I think one of the things that makes the Metroidvania formula addicting, I actually saw a like basically somebody's fucking term paper analysis on this on YouTube the other day. Someone said that one of the reasons the Metroidvania games are so addicting is it is the one type of game formula that gives the player a very constant drip of power increase. You know, generally those games you start off, you're fucked, you got nothing, you're getting raped by rats or whatever the basic bitch enemy is, you know, and by the end of the game you're basically a god, you know. You know, and they're saying like, you know, that's not always the case, you know, like you're not going to have that in Halo, you're not going to have that necessarily in like a Zelda game, or, you know, insert different genres here and there. So I don't know, that might lead to some of the excitement, because it's like, oh, you know, what's around the corner, what new gadget, what new power up, what new thing, you know, am I going to use as an excuse for why I'm not sleeping? Yeah, no, that's the only thing I can think on that. Which I guess doesn't really make sense, because last night I didn't particularly sleep very well either. And it's the weekend, which is the most annoying time when one cannot sleep very well, in my opinion. Because it's like, all right, I don't got nowhere to be in the morning. It's dumb that I'm going to bed at 3.
Right.
You know? But I don't know. My body just gets like wired, you know, and I feel like I should be doing
it's
something.
a lot of that too, especially on the schedule. Like I'll get home and I'll end up like having a half day or something, finish all the work, and I'll get home and it's just like, I want to, my body wants to go to sleep now because it's 4 o'clock or 3 o'clock in the morning and I should be doing this.
Yeah.
And once I push past that, now it's 7 o'clock and now I can't sleep because I've now kicked into that second wind.
Yeah.
You know, it's not even like I drink coffee or something to kind of keep me up. It's just once you push past that normal cycle, it's like, no, now you're pulling a double.
Yeah, it's funny, you know, and like I've talked to Brock about that, you know, and then he's like, well, why don't you just fucking like stay up for like 2 days straight and like reset? And I'm just like, and then be non-functional the following day. I don't know about that.
Yeah, and I've had to do that before.
Yeah, well, it's still dumb. It's still dumb, and I don't like it as part of the human experience. It's dumb. Oh gosh, yeah. I don't really have much else to say on life stuff. We got some Halloween decorations, which we haven't done yet.
It's the same.
As a thing, and I put up lights for the first time that's not Christmas on a Christmas tree.
Yeah, we pulled all the Halloween decorations out of the garage 2 weeks ago, and they're still sitting on the front porch.
That's about when we did it. Yeah, so the extent of our Halloween stuff was I swapped out. We have like a porch light with this like hanging lantern looking thing. I swapped that out to a red LED bulb, which I found for like a couple bucks at Walmart. And then we got 3 cords of like Halloween Christmas tree looking lights, but they can go outside.
Right.
And I say this jokingly, I deftly wrapped them around my trees leading down my driveway. And by deftly, I mean I just kind of fucking tossed it trees. Move to the next tree, toss the cord some more.
Yeah.
At night they look great. In the day, it looks like a homeless person just
looks like someone TP'd your house. Yeah.
Yeah, it just fucking looks terrible. Let's see. So we're doing that. The wife got candy. We don't know if trick-or-treating will actually happen. So pre-COVID, this house was lit for trick or treating, which was cool because I'd never done that as an adult person.
What, been on the treating end of the trick or treating?
Yeah, and it was pretty cool. Like I just chilled inside by the fire, watched Treehouse of Horror specials on The Simpsons, you know, and then when a ding dong would come out with a lightsaber and a bowl of candy, it was great. And my neighborhood is packed with kids, like all the time. So it's questionable since we're in a new era now. If I turn the Halloween lights on and the sign, like, yo, there's candy up here.
Yeah.
Like, will there be a bunch of people or will it be like a handful of people and that's it?
Well, if it's anything like last year, it'll be we had a handful and we just didn't we didn't hand out. Like I set up all the decorations and people came up and like we'd left the porch light out. Come up and knock and we just had a sign on the door, no candy. Sorry.
Sure.
Which, that sucks.
Yeah.
This year we actually have a fence around the house, so I can just stick the padlock on that and I can still decorate the yard without welcoming people in the yard.
Sure. I gotcha.
But yeah, I just don't know how, I want to do it. I want to be able to pass out candy. I just don't know that I want to see that many people.
Fair enough. I mean,
Right.
that's to each his own. I
Right.
mean, we're going to give it a college try and we're going to see what happens,
Yeah, we definitely had some of the neighbors come up with innovative, creative ways of doing candy disbursement.
Oh.
PVC pipes.
Like
as dispensers, right? Like
okay.
they'd sit at the
Fair
porch
enough.
and put the candy in a PVC pipe and it would go all the way down, 6 to 10 feet away and
That's fucking wild.
put your bucket, right?
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
No.
people did get creative with it.
Yeah, so I'm gonna have lights. I'm gonna have a lightsaber. I'm gonna have spooky ambient sound and soundtrack playing, probably with like a window open.
Nice.
And if they come, they come. If not, well,
we'll have fun eating candy for the next month.
My wife bought $60 fucking worth of candy today, so we shall see. Like she was really worried about it. Like she was like she went like and looked at a poll by state, which is the most popular candy and shit. And I was just like, honey, you're going about this the wrong way.
Reese's Peanut Butter Cups is always the answer.
I'm allergic to everything. Only get the candies that I can help you eat. Like, what are you doing? Like fucking researching shit. It's fucking dumb. Because if nobody shows up, like, I am not helping you eat Three Musketeers. I'm sorry. Like, it's not happening. So that's happening. We are going to attempt what used to be prior to last year our annual Halloween haunted house crawl on the 29th.
Okay.
Yeah, we talked to my buddy, actually the videographer. We started it with him like 4 years ago or something, and it's been a fucking gas every time. Obviously this year, selection of haunted houses that are actually open, very, very different. So
very true.
We've at the very least got 2. We've got the famous one in Seattle. They're doing theirs in like tiered waves, and then we've also been told that there's still actors, but there's also like a shitload more animatronic stuff this year, which makes sense. And then there's one over in Tacoma that we're gonna give a go that seems to have good reviews. So we're gonna try those, and then this year, he is taking his son with us since he's, I don't know, he's like 12, 13, something like that now.
Yeah.
So he's finally come of age, and I was like, ooh, well,
this won't scar him for life. Only need a little bit of therapy to come out of this.
Well, it's funny. I asked him tonight. I was like, so like, I don't even know. Does your kid what does he do? What does he do with horror? And then he's like, well, we went to like a local haunted house near where I live, and there's like a dude running at him with a chainsaw, and he swears that he was totally fine and nothing scared him. He's like, but you know, I'm his
Until
dad.
the next time he fired up the weed whacker.
Well, no, and then he says, but I'm his dad, and I swear he was shitting a little bit out of his out of his pants. So I was like, okay, fair enough. So it should be, at the very least, through a teenager child's eyes, should be entertaining.
For sure.
Yeah. So we're gonna give that a go, and of course the Fork fan can look forward to probably ridiculous stories, because every fucking time I've done that, we've always had really fucking wacky ass stories. I believe the first one was we started at the haunted house in Seattle, but then we couldn't get in, but then we saw the blood drive truck, and they were like, skip the line if you give blood, even though they have warnings on the building like, don't come in after you've given blood, but we did anyway. You know, whatever. Fucking sitting there, fucking donating blood to fucking go into a haunted house. What a fucking ridiculousness.
Get yourself a pint low and then go in.
Yeah, that's exactly what we did that year. Oh gosh, you'll have to dig up that episode. I remember that story being fucking hysterical. Yeah. So yeah, no, there's always good stories that come out of that. So hopefully there will be good stories to come for that, since it is now officially planned. All got our
cool.
Huh?
I said cool.
Yeah. So yeah, so that brings us to probably the end of another episode that's 4.5 hours long.
3 hours 20. Now, just because we are recording on a certain day now, in 2 weeks from now, that will actually be Halloween. So are we going to reschedule?
I mean,
actually, it'll be the 30th.
It'll be the Saturday into that Halloween, because it'll be the night. So I don't see a reason to reschedule.
Okay. Cool. Keep me posted.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, this has been another episode of the Fork in Your Ear podcast. With me.
And me.
It's Tim. And
Nate.
And that's Nate. And that's a we out.
Trash can's not a vault.
That's such a good line. That's got to be the thing. Thank you for listening to a Dynamic Works production podcast. You can find our podcast at www.dynamicworksproductions.com. Feel free to email us at dynamicworks@mac.com.
Dominic Armato, the voice of Guybrush Threepwood, and you're listening to a Dynamic Works production podcast.
The Citadel, Arrival, is the first installment in a series of epic science fiction short stories reminiscent of the Pulp Fiction style. It's a fast-paced story that will take you through twists and turns that you will not expect, until they are thrust upon you with all the force, excitement, and chaos of a plasma cannon blast. The story follows Katarl, a nobody cog in the working wheels of a futuristic society run completely by Megacorp, a corporation that carefully runs and manages the lives of the people living under its sphere of power. On one of Kataro's few and far between days off from work, an outing he had hoped would be fun and relaxing turns into an explosive adventure that drags him kicking and screaming into situations and challenges that will make him question every aspect of his life. Watch this colorful tapestry unfurl as Kataro and his newfound allies find their way through this classic, yet oddly surprising tale of good and evil, where nothing is quite what it appears to be. That's The Citadel: Arrival by author Tim K. Trotter, available right now on Amazon Kindle Store and iTunes iBookstore for only $2.99. Cut out, Tim. Cut out.
Cut out?
All right, I'm stopping the recorder. Okay, hang on.
There you are.
Hang on, I don't have something muted. Where are you? Mute you.
Turn off the AC.
Yeah. Oh, and then I need to eject these RAID drives. You got a loud ass fan on them.
I have a loud fan on.
No, I said I have to eject these RAID drives because they have loud ass fans in them.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, not you.
I don't have my fan on this time.
Yeah. Come on, eject, please. Eject, I command you. There you go. Okay.
But it has finally cooled off, so I'm going to open the window.
Okay, that's fine. All right, come on. Eject, please. Why aren't you ejecting? Do your ejection thing. Come on, man. What are you doing? Why are you not ejecting? I commandeth you to ejecteth. There we go. There we go. Okay. Shut stack number 1 down. And stack number 2. Go forth, ask thy questions.
Why are you shutting down a raid?
Because I have 2, and they were running prior to us going.
Good night. Okay.
Oh yes, the all important. Does this look good without a bra?
Yes. It's the modern equivalent of the "Do I look fat in this dress?"
I mean, I wouldn't compare it to that, but sure, whatever your guys' dynamic is your guys' dynamic.
No, she hadn't zipped it all the way up and everything. It
Mm.
was she put it on to try it on with the shoes. And came in for my fashion opinion.
I see.
And yeah,
Well,
married life.
fair enough. Yes, it is a thing. It's very much a thing. How are you doing this fine
I
October
am freaking
Saturday?
exhausted.
no.
And my wife just took her cannabis gummy, so she'll be out like a light very shortly.
I figured that's what that was. Well, I'm rolling on Skype.
I'm rolling over here.
On Logic. I do not have the loopy son of a bitch thing on this time. So that is not a thing this week. Let me move this mic in just a smidge. All right. Oh wait, is that too loud now?
Is what too loud?
I'm looking at my monitor now. Talking. No, that looks pretty good.
Yeah, you should be fine.
Yeah, it'll be fine.
Had pretty good audio mix the last 2 episodes. The most recent one,
Yeah.
I want to say 116. It started off a little sketchy and then it came in.
Oh.
So
I think there was also like room factors too.
Mhm.
Like, I don't know, the mic wasn't where it was supposed to be, and then we started and stopped like 3 times, which was on me. Which, so okay.
Yeah.
So hopefully
So it goes.
nobody's power goes out, These technical issues. Hunky dory, easy, non 4-hour podcast, please.
All right, well, we're already 5 minutes in. We haven't even started.
Somehow, a 4-hour podcast to edit is like 10 times harder to edit than the usual 2.5, 3-hour podcast. I don't know why. Something about how long it is and breadth of time you have to work on it. Anyways, let us begin. I have the ring. Let's give ourselves the old cut-ins. Make sure you do one as well, because you missed your third one, which I spent far too long guessing where the fuck we were talking about.
It wouldn't have been bad if it wasn't a 4-hour cast, right?
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Cut in? Or I guess
you didn't even count me down for that.
I should have done a thing. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, this is your cut in, Tim. So now me and Nate will do our cut ins together. That was your pre-cut in, because I know how you have this over on your desk and then you're playing games on the couch and then you're listening and you're either paying attention or you're like, oh shit, and you pause the game and you rush over. Okay.
Gotta love the process.
Well, it is what it is. All right, in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Cut in.